Hey there. I would like to begin this episode by thanking some people like Buffalo Carl, JP Grant, Zachary Rowland, Joseph Mazzochi, and Jared Bowles. All of these are people who have gone to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv and gave us some money and helped us out, supported the shows, supported the network. It's all good stuff. You can be like them and go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv and thank you.
My name is Gary Butterfield.
My name is Cole Ross.
And you're listening to Watch Out for Fireballs. It is a Games Club podcast.
And this week we are talking about Stardew Valley, which is a life sim game developed and published by Concerned Ape for the PC and contemporary systems in 2016.
And a line of budget salad dressings.
Is it now?
So, now just Stardew Valley sounds like salad dressing to me.
It does. Well, anything in the Valley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird the Valley became a suffix for salad dressing.
Harvest Valley, Harvest, Star, Stardew, yeah. Prune Tracy, yeah, all of that. Welcome to the jungle, Gary.
Yeah.
Oh, you were leading me along with this whole darkest dungeon. Oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's all this. Oh, we're in Coal Town now.
It's quite. I take comfort. So first of all, thank you, Zack.
Thank you, Zack, for executive
producing this episode.
Yes.
Yeah, we appreciate you. Big shout out to My Marvelous Year. I have guested on that. Jeremy has guested on the podcast version of that. It is a great service.
Nice.
I take comfort in the fact that I'm going to get yelled at for this episode because I played like 23 hours of it and I noped out before a lot of stuff happened. But you don't do the romance. You're going to get yelled at too.
Yeah, I know, right?
Because a lot of people, this is the game where everybody on Duckfeed gets yelled at because I realized it partway through. This is playing it wrong month.
Do you think? Oh, with Left 4 Dead and with StarCraft? Yeah, and then
like single player, these competitive multiplayer games. And the fact that regardless of how we play Stardew, we're playing it wrong to somebody. Like we accidentally made playing it wrong month. Like, and it's a pretty like perfect playing it wrong month.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, but you're absolutely right. Because Stardew Valley is a lot of things for a lot of people, and a good deal of the story content, and a lot of like the fan community stuff around it is about the individual characters, and you find that out either by marrying them or by advancing their friendships, and we
ain't gonna get that much.
Probably not.
We were talking about it a little bit, but I didn't engage with it too much. I got a 4-heart event with one of the characters, but I got bones to pick with that social system, which we'll talk about. And I don't think that I think that people who are listening to this who are big Stardew fans might think we're playing it wrong. I don't think that Concerned Ape thinks there is a wrong way to play this.
No.
I think that this is more about choosing your own adventure.
I think so too.
Basically. Yeah. So, I want to get out in front of that. So if you want to yell at me for not putting, 600 hours into it and getting to the end of the island content, that's fine. But also yell at Cole because he doesn't care about the waifus.
No, I don't. It does not confer upon me an economic advantage. So
yeah, it can eventually kinda. But I talked to other people about this game, and when I was like, I don't really talk to the people. I mostly I farm, and then if it's raining, I go to the dungeon. And they're like, "What are you doing?" And then I showed my girlfriend my farm, and she's like, "Why do you have so many minerals, and why do you not have a wife yet?" And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Why is my sim always single and living in a house where where he's self-employed and working on maxing out every skill? Yeah. Why is that?
I don't, yeah. So there's a lot of stuff to talk about in this game, and I want to put out before we get into it in Front Street. We're not going to get to everything.
Nope.
I also how deep in the weeds we get on like the collectathon stuff, I think is probably good to get out there, because there is a lot of like, there are probably like optimal fish.
Yes.
And at the very least, like, I don't know the optimal fish. I want to express the experience of playing this for 23 hours without using a guide.
Right.
Which is what I did.
Mm-hmm. And I have played this for many hundreds of hours, and I have, referenced guides, and I've referenced wikis and stuff like that. I have done
a human guide.
I mean, no, I would not say that. There are things that I'm going to factually get wrong as I fire off at the mouth based on something that has old information or what I think it might have been. Just getting out there. This is a game that people have kind of made their life to a certain extent. There's a really robust mod community. They're very passionate fans about this, and I think that the way that the game is designed is really smart, because most of the systems have a way designed in to get around them. And I think that is 100% necessary in a game where you're going to follow your nose and set your own goals and, set your routine based on which of the systems is engaging to you and what kind of rewards you want on the other side of it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's this is by I'll get, let's talk about the individual bits. I have tons of feelings about Stardew Valley, because the time that I enjoyed it a lot. And then when I got sick of it really hard. Mm-hmm. I was like, I can't see why I got to stop this. Yeah. I have to put this down. And it just, how many hours I can make my own fun with a treadmill, right? Like this is the most treadmill thing that we've done. Mm-hmm. You are gaining money basically, or gaining points or what have you, to make it easier to gain points, to make it easier to gain points, to make it easier to gain points,
or to unlock new things, new systems, new places, stuff like that, which in turn make it easier to do stuff. Yeah,
make it easier for you to do stuff. And the new systems and new places are really similar to the old systems and old places, from what I can tell. Like, you can go to a place with new fruit, but you're still doing the same basic loop. Yeah. Like there is so it's really interesting, this game in that context for me. I have a lot of feelings about Stardew Valley. Yeah. For people who don't know, you play as a city dweller who works at an Amazon. You get burnt out on urban professional life, and your grandpa gives you a farm. He basically leaves you a farm grenade. Like, any day, someday you're going to feel sick of this shit, quit your job and go live in a hut.
Yep. So you take the farm, you take the bus out to Pelican Down, which is in Stardew Valley. It's a small little town that is kind of modeled after the Pacific Northwest, which is where the creator kind of grew up. And you establish a new life away from the hustle and bustle, probably bringing some of that hustle and or bustle with you, depending on how much you're on that paper chase.
Yeah, the way it sounds, I love picturing the way that you play this, basically trying to factory farm with one person.
Yep.
and automating this pleasant, idyllic little town.
Yeah, no, Gary, I don't, it's not one person. I hire, let's say, the local fairy folk to harvest for me.
I pay them what they like to call coal script. And you pay them a certain amount of farm bucks, but you can basically automate. Like, I love again, we'll get into it. I love the narrative of this game being so like back to nature and stuff, and the experience of playing it as being like, get that money. You gotta get that money.
Ooh, you gotta climb. Gotta
deeply capitalistic game in a lot of ways.
Oh man, deeply materialist at the very least.
Yes.
But yeah, this is kind of made to be kind of an indie alternative to Harvest Moon and Story of Seasons. Kind of the modern iteration of the Harvest Moon games. Although that series is a mess. We have covered Harvest Moon in the past. We did the SNES version. Alongside Sim City. We've also done the Sims 3, so we have a couple of Sims like this. This is the most involved of these, though.
Yes, yeah, this is a very generous game.
Yeah,
there are a lot of. It is a very wide and deep game. There are a lot of things to do, which we'll talk about. at least a survey course on all of them, keeping in mind that we don't play the game the same way you do.
Yeah.
And people play this game differently. And that is part of the intent, regardless of how many YouTubes you see that say, like, don't make these 10 mistakes.
Right.
The creator is like, no, make mistakes.
Make mistakes. There's all the only pressure is time. And guess what? It's going to come back around. So.
Yeah. And that's no pressure. You have as much time as you need.
Yes. Yeah.
Until your grandpa's ghost comes back to haunt you to tell you fucked up.
Ooh, bills come due. Yeah.
I don't believe in ghosts. Get off my factory farm.
If there is something that you missed that you felt was like a wildly good kind of story beat with a particular character or a system that we didn't engage with, I would encourage you to write in as a response on that.
Sure.
Not so much in you clods, you forgot, you missed a spot kind of thing. I just want to know. I want to know different ways that people have kind of played this and engaged with it, because I definitely am coming at it from the management sim kind of aspect. Yeah.
Let's get into the development reception. I'm going to say, I have again, I'm bursting at the seam with thoughts. I've been waiting to talk about this, but I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Yeah.
Concerned Ape is not this man's Christian God name. His name is Eric Baroni, and he graduated from the University of Washington, Tacoma in 2011, had trouble finding work in the games industry. And the story behind him, like, deciding to, do this as an exercise, basically, to keep his art and programming sharp, was that, like, he was sick of the Harvest Moon games that were coming out.
Yeah.
So he just decided to make one, which I think is really cool. This is a niche genre I love. No one's doing it right. I bet you I could do that right.
Yeah. This itch isn't being scratched for me. Maybe there are other people who feel the same way, and we can kind of create this hypothetical alternate evolution for the series. And holy shit, it worked. This is an incredibly inspirational game, or an incredibly inspirational story of kind of independent game development. Incredibly happy for the success that Eric has found, because seems like a good dude.
Absolutely.
Yeah. He announced the game in 2012, and he got support from the publisher Chucklefish to kind of handle the non-development tasks related to the game development, community stuff, etc. This is important because this game was developed solo. One of the biggest projects that we've seen that has been developed by a single person. I'm sure there's been help and input from any number of people who tested and such, but the majority of the heavy lifting has been done by Baroni himself. So programming, art, music, all of which are good and sound, and all of which were done. And I've seen photos of his working space. Like, he just recently upgraded from like a standing desk made of like a bunch of pop like old pop cases stacked on top of each other. This is a sprawling product that came from a very modest place.
Yeah. Usually when someone makes a game on their own, they outsource the art and music. You see a lot of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is all solo bolo. Barone figured players would try to maximize efficiency. He had his eye on you. Cole, with farming spreadsheets. So he made systems like cooking and fishing monetarily inefficient. This is one of the kind of philosophical differences in this game.
Yeah.
Whether it is best, like, to what degree you should process your wares.
Yeah.
Before selling them. Here, it is not better to sell omelets as opposed to eggs. They give you stat boost, which allow you to get more eggs, which allow you to make more omelets, allow you to get more eggs, which allow you to get more omelets, etc.
Well, I mean,
instead,
you make a better omelet, which gives you energy to go into the mines to get, go deeper, get better ore, make a better hoe, to farm enough stuff to upgrade your, to sell, to upgrade your coop, to get more chickens, etc. There are any number of intermediate steps. These systems that lock together in really cool ways.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's all towards getting better and more stuff.
Yeah. Baroni did not want to pre-sell the game. There was no like early access. There was no pre-release or anything. It was just, hey, let's put the full product out and iterate on it afterwards. And boy, did he. This has gotten a great deal of post-release support. I think all of that is kind of drying up now, as Baroni has announced the
Haunted Chocolatier.
The Haunted Chocolatier, which looks interesting. Yeah, but we got to the 1.5 release here a little bit earlier this year, at least on the Switch, which is the majority of where I play this game. And this includes like big stuff, not just new structures, but whole new areas whole new areas, a whole post game added on, co-op, both online and local. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And this is a huge hit commercially and critically. Commercially, like has crossed the barrier where you can buy merchandise, like Stardew Valley merchandise in like a Fuego in a mall. Yeah. So it's one of the few games we've done that have crossed over into the real world. Not just fan gamer kind of stuff, but like, I will see in the mall, you can see a backpack with like a Stardew Valley chicken hanging from the keychain. I
loved the plushes that you got for pre-ordering Harvest Moon games. The little plush cows were great. And I love the plush chickens that you can see for this. The fan gamer stuff for this is pretty good. I have a map of Pelican Town up on my living room wall. Yeah,
they're really nice. There's really good stuff. You brought my attention to the guide, which is like hand drawn, large portions of it, which is also really, really attractive.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Nice object.
Yep. It wasn't just a hit with customers and critics. This also was a hit with the original creator of Harvest Moon, which has to be a huge feather in Brony's cap. Yasuhiro Wada says that this captures the feel of the old games better than what the series has become.
And for a while, Brony was going to make his follow-up game was going to be about a wizard academy, but instead he went for Haunted Chocolatier, which at the very least is less generic sounding.
Yes.
Like, what's that mean? Like, it looks like Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
In screenshots. I'll be curious as to what advances that has in it, because this already feels like this contains a sequel.
Yeah.
Like the island could have been a sequel to this game.
Yeah. So yeah, he has earned my both my trust and curiosity. Yeah.
So when you start the game, your character is sitting by your grandfather's deathbed, and he gives you your farm bomb. Says, "Open this only when you run out of patience for modern life." And you obey. Your character is working at Amazon. It feels like Amazon because it's got the little smile.
Yeah.
Thing. Jojo Mart.
Yes.
Jojo Corporation. Here, which is just a big faceless thing. You're working a cubicle. Someone has died in the next cubicle over. Yeah. And you're like, fuck this shit. And you open the letter.
Yes. And it says that your grandpa suffered, kind of a similar fate, saying, I needed to move to a place where I could find real connections with people and nature. And the envelope contains the deed to your family farm. It is yours to start your new life on, to go and connect with people and live among the wildlife in harmony, making spreadsheets, starting a monoculture bonanza farm, and rooting through people's trash.
Yeah, I definitely want to talk about the psychopath that you play in this game. This is one of our, like, we've done a lot of, like, characters who are close to the edge of sanity, like your Alan Wakes, your Max Paynes and stuff. They have nothing on the main character of Stardew Valley, who is a stone cold fucking psychopath.
Oh, yeah. Here, I want you to take this jewel from me.
Yeah, here. I don't speak, but here's a Sunday. You don't want to dance with me? Is it because I hang out at the tide pool all the time? There's some pretty cool stuff you can find down at the tide pool. You basically you play as both Charlie and Frank in this if they farm. Like I like go down in the sewer to see some ghouls, little ghouls that sell me stuff.
Krobus. I told you got to stop talking to Krobus.
He's like, well, no, I mean, dude, he's pretty cool. Like, if you talk to him, he's pretty. Like, you are basically Charlie Day in this. Huge Charlie Day energy. I eat horseradish. I eat ground treats. If I find something on the ground, I eat it.
Gotta go out and check the crab pots.
Yeah.
Living off the fat of the sea.
Things.
Man. So you arrive in Pelican Town by bus, and the local builder Robin meets you at the bus stop, and the mayor has sent her here, and you're taken out to your shithole funny farm money pit. That has been left to go to seed. Yeah.
And I'm sure we've got a note for this later, but part of the joy of this game is looking at this and being like, I can bring order to this.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah.
You're in some way, this is the joke for Harvest Moon is always like, I want to go on the yard work simulator. This is a yard work simulator, at least in part.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah.
But it's satisfying to mow lawns in video games.
It is.
So Mayor Lewis shows up. He says, "Hey, the people in town appreciate you coming by to introduce yourself. Here's a box. If you have anything to sell, I will swing by as the mayor and pick it up to sell it for you. Yeah. Don't worry, you'll never see me. You can go to bed at 1:50 a.m. and I go the second after you come to sleep.
Yeah,
I have nothing else to do.
Yeah, well, that's why you pass out at 2 a.m. because he fucking darts you if you're out.
Yeah, he's like, I'm just pounding Joja Colas. I fished out of the fucking river, and I still pass out at 2 a.m.
Oh God. So prior to this opening cutscene, you've made a couple of choices. You have designed your character, setting your appearance and such. You've also selected which kind of farm you want. Which farm did you go with this time, Gary?
Just the standard. I was trying to get the standard. I'd played this before, but I played it for like, I was like, oh man, this is dangerous. I shouldn't let it get my hooks into me. So I played it for a few hours and ducked out. Yeah. I played it before. So this was, I wanted to see further into the game and the standard experience. Yeah. Basically.
Yeah. The standard farm is good all around. The other farms, they are specialized to particular skills, but they're also just really difficult to grow on. They have limited spaces and such. The Four Corners farm is neat. That was one that was added here with the co-op kind of thing. The idea being that the different corners have kind of different kind of areas where all of the aspects of the other ones would kind of show up. So there's like a little quarry. There's places where like trees and stumps will show up, like foraging spots. There's a bigger fishing spot. It's interesting and neat. If I start a new one, I'm probably just going to do the standard one though. Yeah, because I did the Four Corners this summer. This is weird. This is the first game where it's like, I put 200 hours into this over the summer. I'm probably good not restarting a new farm for this in the month prior. So yeah.
What do you name your farm? Is it because it's a factory farm thing, or they're all like X4, 6, 7, 12? Like farm number A capital B.
My first farm was Duck Farm. My second farm was Crick Farm.
What, Brick Farm?
Crick Farm.
Oh, Crick Farm. Got you.
What about you?
I decided to name mine in tribute to the author of Animal Farm. So it's 1984 Animal Farm. To kind of hit both.
Man.
There's also a beach farm that has sandy soil, so you can't really sprinkle, but you have supplies that wash up. There's a forest farm where there's monsters rove around. But there are a lot of things. I can mostly speak to the standard farm. I just read about the other ones.
Yeah. No, they're for very specialized kind of playthroughs. If you're going to be trying to see everything, it's best to do the standard, because you can like plant forests and stuff on the standard. You can do a lot of stuff just with the land that is given to you.
Yeah. Let's talk about your little man.
Yeah, your little man, woman, or other
little person.
Yeah. So you got lots of stats to manage, and I'm including this is a pretty wide remit of like bars that you have to look at for this little section. Everything from HP to time, and you have HP. It will only deplete when there are monsters that attack you during combat. And that only happens if you choose to, either let monsters onto your farm or by going into particular spaces. The most important one, though, is your exhaustion meter, your energy bar, which, like in Harvest Moon, it'll fill up with exhaustion as you perform actions. Yeah.
You get ample warning about this when you're about to pass out, and you eat things to fill this up. This is as old as Harvest Moon. To do this, if you actually run out of energy or HP, you pass out, and then somebody picks you up and cuddles you into bed, either returns you to your house or the doctor's office.
Yeah,
the idea of someone gently placing you in your bed is very funny, and it being the mayor of the town is extra funny.
Oh god.
This is expensive. It costs money. Lost items. You'll wake up with less energy the next day if you ran out the clock on energy.
That's a big deal.
You can get those items back. I never died.
Oh,
from this in the game.
So you never died of losing HP like down in the mines.
No, I got to about level 105 in the mines and did not die.
Yeah.
Or a little over 100. Maybe it's not one. I don't remember. I got over 100 because I was like, it says get to the end.
Yeah.
And I was like, where's the fucking end?
It's like 150.
But I got to over 100 and did not. But I did die from exhaustion a couple times. Passed out.
Yeah.
A lot of times trying to make my way back from the dungeon at 2 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah, the getting items back, that's a thing at the Adventurers Guild where the old the old soldiers hang out. That's like you pay a fee and you can select one item to be recovered and sent to your mailbox the next day. And yeah, because what is lost is random, you're never going to, I don't believe that you're going to you're going to lose any of your tools, but you might lose your sword, which might be really valuable, or like a whole stack of resources, maybe like a stack of iridium that you went down there to get.
I think you can lose your tools because they introduced the lost and found box to replace your base items.
Gotcha.
Like if you lose your upgraded hoe, a basic hoe will show up in the lost and found.
Yeah, please don't say
World Star. Will show up in the lost and found box.
Right. Yeah. So
World Star Valley.
Yeah. I'd like to play that. That'd be fun. Yeah. So your maximum energy can be increased by finding and eating star drop fruits. These are big deals. Like you get these for major achievements. You're going to want to be on the lookout for any time you can get these, because that is just more things you can do without using resources, without eating something that you could sell.
Yeah. Or just like, again, floor finds.
Yeah.
You also have an inventory limit at the start. If you're carrying your tools, that's basically half your backpack. And then there are exorbitantly priced backpacks.
Yeah. $50,000 backpacks you can buy.
Yeah. I have no idea how money is used in this town.
No.
Other than me buying stuff. This town supports a homeless population.
It does.
Why?
Yeah,
I keep just passing the same $30,000 over and over. Buy the same fucking hut. You have an option to buy a hut for $100 and put it on your land, and nobody will do it for the homeless fella.
It's a rounding error. Yeah,
it's horrible.
Yeah.
And when we talk to him, he says he likes it.
Yeah.
So, you also get a chest. You can build it like you can build many of these. You can change their color so you can organize, and this is so you can keep stuff in your farm or what have you.
Yeah, which is good. And like way late in the game, you can buy chests that are linked together, like the Resident Evil item chests, stuff like that. As you maintain 2 farms across the Pelican Town and the Ginger Island. So as you perform actions, you will gain experience in different skills. You have farming, mining, foraging, combat, and fishing. And if you do a major level up during the night after you level up, you're going to get a chance to pick between 2 different perks.
It's at level 5.
It's at level 5, and then like a level 10, I believe.
10.
Yes.
Yeah, 5 and 10, and they are branching paths. So you choose basically a career path, like an advanced class, which leads to another skill choice.
Yeah.
So the first one is a choice between 2, but which one you choose cuts off your choices for level 10.
Yes. Yeah. And you're going to be making that choice based on what seems to be most rewarding or what leans into the kind of play that you enjoy.
Yeah. The other thing that you're going to be managing is your time. You have from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. to accomplish your goals. You quit this Amazon job to work 20-hour days. The different stores and NPCs all have different schedules. So you need to, manage that, make sure you don't miss the store window or like where the person is there. And each season has 28 days. So there are different crops and different events, different fish to catch, all these different things for the seasons.
Yes.
Birthdays, you want to keep track of basically when it is and what time and what day it is.
And you can buy a calendar. So you don't have to go into town to look at the communal calendar.
One. Yeah. I don't know what to do with this $50,000 I got for a backpack. We still had to share the same calendar though.
Could just send out a calendar. Like it could be like a promotional thing, like shop at Pierre's, No, it's fine. So, and the last thing you're going to end up managing is money. And along with money, you're going to want to get a hold of particular, rare and useful ingredients, your hardwood, your mahogany. Usually you need to provide the materials for bigger jobs that need to be done. And you make money by putting items into the Omni box.
The mayor box.
Yeah, the undifferentiated
and the
pickup box.
And this is things are very expensive in this game. People I was talking to on the Slack thought I was being a baby about that, but it was because they were like, I was like, I played for 22 hours. Like, oh, that's nothing. Like a couple of years in, you'll have more money than you'll ever need. I'm like, it's 80 hours of my life. You're just staking out, just
trying to get a sense of how it works.
I just it costs Gary 60 hours of life to get a barn in the game. So things are very expensive. I was shocked by how money focused this game is, just in terms of how that feels with the narrative and the kind of back to nature. Aspect of it.
It's kind of sold as this simple life simulator kind of deal, but it is more in line with either a management sim or a survival game. And so
it's a survival game without consequences.
Yes,
basically. So every day you wake up at 6 a.m., already a nightmare. Should have stayed at Georgia. And I watch TV when I wake up as well. Other people online were saying watch before bed. I don't have the memory for that.
Right.
The TV has useful information. So you get the weather, next day's weather. The fortune teller, which it basically determines your luck score for the day. This primarily impacts fishing. And finding the next level down in the dungeon.
Yes.
So what I did was if I had good luck that day and I had nothing else really going on, that would be a good day to fish or mine. If I had bad luck, I would, chop down trees. I turned into the dad from The Witch constantly in this game. Like just chopping down trees at 1 a.m. like because I have extra energy to burn.
Yep.
So that would be for bad luck days.
Yes. There's informational programming you can get, like Living Off the Land, which will give little tips, tell you how different parts of your farm will work or different skills will work. Queen of Sauce is really valuable to watch. This will give you recipes. This is kind of drawn randomly. If you miss one on one day, there are reruns as well for some of these.
This is a big, when you look at before you play tips, they're like, oh yeah, make sure you hit the recipes. If I didn't end up cooking very much in my playthrough. And like, I can understand there, apparently it's very useful for gifts. You want to have the recipes because something might be somebody's favorite gift.
Yeah.
But it's not, I didn't feel that impacted by, I wouldn't have felt impacted by missing a recipe too much in my casual play.
If you're doing dungeon play, like either in the Skull Cavern or in the volcano, you really, really want to have like the recipe for the spicy eel dish. There are certain particular recipes. It's a little bit like an MMO actually, where like you wouldn't go on a raid in EverQuest without everybody having like this particular alcohol and food for everybody to have this particular stat. They end up being really helpful. And it kind of guides your like which resources you want to keep around. So it's important for like high level survivability because some of those enemies are just real bastards down there.
Yeah. Early on, I made do with food and healing potions from my mushroom cavern. Yes. But I can see it for late game stuff.
Yeah.
It's so weird things that are important, but they're important after 25 hours of the game.
Yeah.
Like it's a thing where it's like, I hear what you're saying and I believe you that they end up becoming very important. It's just so weird because I feel reflexively like pre-defensive about being told that my experience didn't count because it was merely 25 hours or whatever.
No, your experience counts.
That's a lot of time. Like the game is a slow paced game. Like it doesn't unlock things quick for Stardew Valley is not quick in terms of video games.
No, because it is meant to be played in bursts over a long course of time.
Very long period of time.
Anybody who says you're 25 hours of experience, it doesn't count. Fuck them, because everybody who plays for the first time is going to go through those 25 hours. So
that's the thing too, though, is a little frustrating when I've like talked about this, is people are like, oh no, you have to do this. And I'm like, well, where does it say in the game to do that? And they're like, oh, it doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, the game wanted me to play the way that I played.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was following cues from the developer and the design, which is to play really inefficiently for the first year or so.
Yeah.
And then learn. Like that's the stated intent. Like if you look at interviews, the guy says, yeah, I want you to not know how to do this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a weird thing to be said, like, oh, no, you just get more money than you ever, like you can get, the best level sprinklers by the end of summer. And I'm like, fuck, you can. Like, not with the information provided in the game, you can't.
Right.
You know, not by any means.
Right. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. If you're not buying the golden clock by the end of winter year 1, then you're a scrub. No, that's not. No.
Well, and it's what you are if you're not doing that is you're just playing the game.
Yeah.
Right. Like the only way this game is very canny about what it tells you.
Mm-hmm.
And the things it leads you towards and tells you, it wants you to learn by failing.
Mm-hmm.
The ideal use case of this game is to play it at a relaxed, like do the first year at a relaxed, like 65 hours, and then take those lessons in the second year.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's the only way to play, but I do think that is the way that Concerned Ape envisioned people playing the game.
Yeah. Because the
even
other
if it hasn't really worked out that way.
Yeah, because the other way is to play consult in the wiki. Like even the guide is a little bit inefficient. You know, a lot of the stuff.
Tables.
Yeah,
too.
It's
mostly like tables and charts.
Yeah, it's a lot of tables and it's a lot of tips. Tables and tips. Yeah. But like, so, we're talking about the daily routine here, and this is, I think, this is where it starts really scratching the itch for me, because everything comes down to the day and the structure of the day and deciding based on what you see, based on the conditions, what you're going to get done that day and what you're going to be working toward. And so the routine and the rhythm of this is incredibly soothing to me and incredibly engaging. It is, right there at kind of the perfect spot on the flow, on the flow chart, of engagement and involvedness, to where that's where this game lives for me. Is that like elemental structure of kind of doing the mandatory stuff, at the beginning, and then figuring out what goal I'm going to advance during the rest of the day.
Yeah. And when I was deep in it, when I was in the middle of my section, it was for me too. Like it felt I wanted to do the next day, because the end of the day I would put something in my box for money, or I would do something that would affect the next day, and I wanted to execute on it. Yeah. Like this series of kind of micro goals. And it just, that currency spent for less time for me. Yeah. But I don't deny the currency's value. Yes. Right. Like, I think that if somebody were considering Stardew Valley, like most people, I think, who would like this have already played it. Yeah. Right. Like already know about it. If somehow you're the weird edge case that's on the fence about this, I think that is the elemental question of whether this game is for you. Yes. How long do you want to optimize, this day in, day out kind of micro goal, micro level ups, micro advancements? How long will that feed you? Because it is ultimately like what the game is. Like there's not a lot of, as opposed to, so something that I think of with a traditional management sim, I think about emergent stories. Yeah, a lot. Stardew has less space for those. Like they can happen. You're down in the dungeon, and you tried to risk it and you got killed and you lost your sword. And you had, like there can be emergent stories, but it's not so much about that. Like it is like a very kind of clockwork game. Yeah. In terms of. It's a way more, this sounds damning, and I don't mean it to be, because people love these games and they can be very complicated. It has clicker DNA to me. Yeah. Like it has, if I plant my seed and sell the vegetable, I can then plant 2 seeds and sell 2 vegetables, and so on and so on. There are a lot of other steps, but it is just about unmitigated, unstopping growth.
Yeah.
and watching numbers go up.
If you play it in that regard. But, engaging with those other systems, those gifts have to come from somewhere. You're going to need to be doing, you're going to need to be working on some other skill, some other crafting kind of mechanic, right?
Yeah, but their mechanics are all the same. You engage with them through basically the same system as well, right? So like you go down to the mine and you do the combat in this game, which we'll talk about and stuff to all to kind of feed this thing. But all of the systems are all like pretty simple, even down to the social systems, which are exceedingly simple.
Oh yeah. Insultingly
simple. You give people the gifts they like. You water people like plants.
Yes.
Like everything is basically a plant in this. Like I'm gonna go farm this. I'm gonna go farm in the dungeon or I'm gonna farm on my land for wood and chop things down. Like you're always basically doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Like so for example, right? Like the crafting stuff, I'm gonna make mayonnaise as opposed to just having eggs. I just do that by building a thing, which I do through engaging through all the other systems and sticking an egg in there. That's not an additional mechanic or step. It's just more steps on the same mechanic.
Right,
really.
Right. But I mean, in comparison to something like SimCity, starting out with a coal-fired power plant and trying to save up enough money to build nuclear or hydro, right? That has knock-on ramifications for everything else, right? And it is, it is all about kind of raising a capacity and reducing other kind of like, unintended side effects, less pollution, less footprint that is required, less impact on the property value of everything surrounding it. Like all of it is, kind of meters connected to other things. Just because your interaction model with all of it is relatively similar, still means that it is something, it doesn't impact that it is something that you need to consider in relation to everything else.
It feels to me, and then this could be something that's definitely different in the late game, right? Like you can speak to this better than I could. Yeah. But it feels like there were fewer factors for that. Like I know about bees making certain kinds of honey if you place your farm correctly, and you can place things for efficiency, but there weren't as many matrices as pollution and property value and a power grid. Like it felt like a less complicated version of that.
I'd be lying if I said that the speed of growth, specifically of money, was not kind of the major thing, because that does unlock so much more. Like a lot of things are kind of related to that. And money is like the way that you can brute force engaging with other systems. So like say buying ore instead of spending time going down into the mines, right? Things like that. It is that is the primary thing that you're trying to optimize for. But everything else just kind of like plugs into it, I guess, and that plugs into everything else. Yeah.
It ends up feeling to me like a very complicated matrix of simple parts, but any individual part of it is really simple.
Yeah.
Like the combat is very basic. Like the growing mechanics are very simple. There's more you can do to optimize them, but the actual basic verb you're doing is all like pretty basic.
Yeah. And it's about juggling all of them, at kind of all levels of play. And that's why it hits so hard that this daily routine is so important, because any individual game, an action RPG that was just this combat, like that would be kind of a jam game, right? Yeah. It wouldn't be enough, but the rewards that you get for doing it, right? No, and it's not what I want. All combat Minecraft. It's not what I want. It is, what I'm rewarded with that is connected to other stuff. And that what you find down there gives you other activities and, gets you the ability to upgrade tools or build more, build more machines that will give you more value, etc. Like, I agree with you. All of the individual parts of this are pretty simple on their own, but that makes them kind of endlessly recombinable.
This ends up being, to me, the poster child. I don't think that I've ever played a video game before that I would describe more as more than the sum of its parts. Because its individual parts, the sum would be very low, I think. I don't really like any one of these systems enough to engage for, longer than like 10 hours. If this were just a fishing game with this fishing thing.
Oh God, no.
I'd get bored. If this were just this dungeon, I would get bored. If it was just the crops, I would get bored. It ends up, and I eventually got bored regardless, but it ends up being the synergy does some work.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is about having the cornucopia of things, where the thing I think that would have kept me going with it longer is if there was more than that mono goal of just, when I upgraded a tool, I don't know what I wanted other than just it to be more efficient. But that didn't change what I did with the systems, really. Like, I had a better axe and it took fewer strokes. I was still just cutting down trees.
Yeah, but you're cutting down more trees for the same amount of time or energy. So you can either get more done, or you can cut down as many as you need and have more time and energy left over to go do other stuff. It gives you greater efficiencies on your day as you're kind of scheduling kind of the routine.
It's efficiencies versus changing your verb.
Yeah.
Like, the verb set in this game is the thing that I think that reminds me of clickerness to it. Like, the things you're doing are basically the same.
Yeah.
Even though you can make them more efficacious. Or like Dragon Quest 1 or something.
Yeah.
It has that kind of just slow and steady. Let's do that a clicker does to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's like game systems. I read about this game a lot, to do the other stuff, but there's probably stuff that I do not know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's as a sandbox for that kind of thing, more than the sum of its parts. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is Fibs?
Fibs is it's like fishing information bulletin system or something like that.
Okay.
That is, it tells you what fish are available where, not when, but like during this season, like if you're looking for a red snapper, go and fish out at this place.
How do you unlock that? Like, I did not have that channel. It didn't come with my TV.
I think I don't know. Maybe I forget how you get Fibs. Stardew Valley FIBS. Maybe it's like a special like upgrade that you have to get. Fibs, fishing information broadcast system. It's unlocked after completing Pam's special order, the strong stuff. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You've got to do a quest. I got to do a quest for Pam.
Yeah, but Pam's really unpleasant.
I know. She's hard to like.
She seems like one of the old men from Cabin Boy.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Like,
but Pam stands are going to come at you with all that they have.
Pam is my waifu. That chonky drunk is going to get... She's going to be mine. Yeah.
There are mods that make Pam marryable. Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone loves to marry your aunt, who still smokes in 2021.
She smells like cigarettes. Yeah. So
if it's raining during the day, so you get up, you watch TV. If it's raining, you don't have to water your crops, which is a big boon early on before you get sprinklers. Your livestock will stay inside, so you have to feed them manually. They cannot go out and graze. So that ends up being a boon early on.
Yeah.
If there's a thunderstorm, which is different than rain, you want to build lightning rods, or crops can get scorched. You cannot get struck by lightning, but crops can be scorched.
Yes. And if your hops plants or your grapevines get scorched, that's a problem. That was supposed to be there all season, right? Yeah. Also like crows can show up. So you want to throw up scarecrows, to keep those around. You can actually go up and talk to the scarecrows and see how many they've scared away, letting you know how many crops, you have saved just by having them boys up there. But yeah, you want to go out, you want to water your crops if necessary. You want to harvest anything that's grown. Overnight weeds will grow, and do damage to what's up?
Unless you make a fence will keep out weeds.
Yes. Yeah. You want to put up fences, but weeds will take care of your paths and stuff like that. So you want to go and mend everything and make sure that it is all together. Check any devices or structures to see if they finished any work. So your mayonnaise machines, your canning jars, etc. You want to make sure that you empty those and refill them. Otherwise, you're losing time. We'll talk about artisanal stuff later on under the farming kind of dealy.
Yeah. You check your livestock to feed them and pet them so they'll stay productive. And then you can go into town. You wake up at 6 and the stores usually open around 9. So the amount of time for this morning routine is built in.
Yeah.
You resupply with anything you might need. Do your socializing if you're doing that. And then any kind of like secondary extra planting you're doing. The way that I built my thing out is I had one like crop that I used for money, and then I had a test garden where I grew one of everything, so I could eventually throw it into the community center. Was the idea.
Yeah.
And then the evening, you want to accomplish, like you have extra time and you've already done your work. So this is where you can go into the mines, go fishing, restructure your farm. I tended to save those activities for rainy days because my chores were basically done.
Yeah.
In the morning a lot of the time. So I'd have the day to really make some progress in that dungeon.
Yeah.
Which apparently got further in than you usually do by the point I was at.
Yeah.
Because I focused on it.
Yeah. It's engaging.
And then every once in a while there'll be disruptions. Something will happen. Either there's a holiday going on, so stuff will be closed, or there will be you'll get a special letter or somebody swing by your house. There are like special events that happen.
Yeah. And you'll get advance notice of these on the calendar, and also on you get like letters saying, "Oh yeah, the Harvest Festival is coming on this day. Be sure that you have XYZ prepared." Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's your kind of daily routine. Let's talk about kind of the early and long-term goals, because it'll be good to say like what kind of signposts are set out here to kind of guide you in the direction that the game wants you to go.
Yeah. You have a quest log that you can pop up. Mayor Lewis gives you your first quest, which is to meet everyone in town. A couple of people are introduced later, but you meet everybody who's available. This is where you get everyone's kind of personality, where they're at during the schedule. It is tough to find people. You can pull up your map and see where they live, but not where they're at.
Right.
Here. So it can be tough to find them. This is one of the things you can look on the wiki and find out where anyone is on any given day at a certain time.
Yeah.
And during the course of this, you get other quests. Some are part of the tutorial. So it's things like, plant 15 crops. The other ones are people doing fetch quests. And it's literally like, I could sure go for a tomato and I'll pay 4 times market price for it if you drop a tomato at my house.
It's so, like, what kind of hell world is this where you can't get a tomato when you want?
Yeah. What world is this?
Is this a prison colony? Am I red? Like, what's going on? Am I getting things?
Huge prison vibes. The town drunk. There are multiple town drunks. Also wants increasingly wretched amounts of hooch from you, but those just stay on my quest log because I didn't want to deal with her, and I had no idea she wanted a pale ale, and I was nowhere close to being able to make beer.
Okay.
And I was like, does the game going to tell me how to make beer if I look and nope. I just needed to keep playing until I got a tooltip or a wiki it.
Yeah.
I had literally no idea how to make beer.
Well, I mean, as you're farming, you'll get the keg, and then you can buy seeds for barley or hops.
What do you mean as you're farming, you get the keg?
No, like as you skill up farming, so there are the profession choices that you can make, like the specializations.
Gotcha.
As you level up, there each level gives you a different recipe, or a different thing that you can make. And one of those for farming is the keg. The keg it kind of comes along with the preserves jar as a way to make things into juices, wine, and beer.
Yeah, I had the preserves, but I had not unlocked the keg.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yep.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, just the quests are there. There are some of them that are more involved for others. And there are ones that like are more in the line of unlocking new things. Like eventually the wizard is going to talk to you, and the wizard's quests are the ones that end up like getting you to
wizard.
What's that?
The old man name of wizard.
His name is Rasmodeus.
Yeah, Rasmodius, but he just goes by wizard, which made me think of Steve Brule.
Man got named
and wizard who gets him high on peyote and hunts him for sport. And Steve Brule for sport.
Oh god. For your health. Yeah. So all of this, most of this is going to be easier for you to accomplish if you clear your farm. This is not something that is like told to you, but you're going to want to make room for crops. And also like the farm is full of a lot of different stuff, and it's going to kind of teach you what is necessary by what you can and can't break down. For what's useful. So there are like, stones and sticks, which you can chop up with axes or your pickaxe, but like there are boulders and stumps that require you to upgrade those tools to get them out of the way. There is tall grass that you use the scythe for. to get hay, and figuring out what to do with hay is important, and also learning how grass behaves by spreading from little shoots. Yeah.
It's worth noting again, so this is something the game doesn't tell you. I think you're just supposed to bumble through in the first year. You cannot save hay until you have a silo.
Yes.
For it. So you can be like me and clean most of your farm because you're cleaning the farm and waste all of that grass.
Yeah.
The game gives you a way to plant new grass after that. Like, you're not screwed, but the game wants you to make that mistake.
Yes.
Again, in terms of like the game's communication, there's nothing early on that indicates that you can save this or it'll be a product.
Yeah. I like sectioning off the farm. Like, I love making the room for the orchard, kind of over on one side, and leaving one area just like, okay, this is going to be wild forest. That'll be my source for different kinds of trees, where I'm also going to put up my the different taps and things like that. Just sectioning out and designing this as an intuitive space that can fit not only my cash crops, but like a full variety of the things that I need for any given thing is incredibly satisfying. And all of that starts here as you clear space and make it usable.
Yeah. It takes a while in my, so just know that it's not something you do in the first couple of days.
Yeah.
By any means. You have a lot of land. You own more land than anyone else there.
Yes.
By like a factor of like 4 or 5.
It's actually shockingly villainous what your family has done by just like, nobody can have it until he learns about the world.
Yeah. Like this has been wasting, and the town has been sliding into disrepair.
Yep.
Because they don't have any industry, because nobody's farming.
Yeah. And a plot of land that is overgrown like this, you know what that makes? Snakes. Oh, this place is full of snakes. I mean, if this was in real life, nothing but snakes. Oh my God.
Yeah, nothing like unending snake. It'd be a snake farm.
Yeah.
And then you could sell snake meat to Pierre's, and that'd be great. I bet you fucking Pam would drink whatever came out of a snake.
Oh yeah.
About 5 days into the game, there's an event where Mayor Lewis, who is very passive aggressive, takes you inside the dilapidated community center and says, "It sure would be nice if somebody fixed this up." And you're introduced to the goblins that live in the forest.
The
these little things called Juminos, or Juninos, Junimos. And they have little golden plates in their certain rooms. You talk to the wizard, Rasmodius, and he teaches you that to complete the community, to get the Junimos to complete the community center, you have to bring them packages of things. Yes.
Yeah. And each room in the community center has a different plate with a number of different bundles that require items that are the results that you get by engaging with the different systems in the game.
Yes. These are, again, in me trying to figure out, what makes Stardew Valley more fun or better than like other, than Animal Crossing, right? These are collectible things.
Yep.
These are collections. Like, you get all 5 fish. That's what Animal Crossing does as well. You just stick them in the museum, or what have you. But here they give you an unlock. Some of those unlocks, it still ends up feeling very like, those unlocks are for fast travel, are for things to make it more efficient for you to do all of the things that you're doing to get more unlocks. You never leave the road in this game. And some of these end up being the time scale that the game wants you to play on becomes very obvious through these as well, because these are for all 4 seasons. And then they have rare things that it is likely, if you're playing without a guide, you will not unlock. Dishes you will not have the ability to make. Gourmet goods that you may miss because of a traveling merchant. I need strawberry jam. If you didn't happen to buy strawberries the one day you can buy strawberries, well, wait a year.
Yes.
Or get some fruit bats. But like you can end up in this section where you have to wait an entire rotation before you can collect the last little bit this thing needs. Yeah.
The big one for me is always fishing, because I do not like that system. That is always kind of the biggest hassle. Because I never plan on it. And some of the fish are pretty tough to catch.
It's annoying the way that they're distributed. Because it's like there's 4 different bodies of water, and then there are different times of day, and then there's whether it's raining or not.
Yep.
And like there's just a lot of different things that make different fish, and then you have a chance of not catching them.
Yes. Or
Yeah.
pulling back kelp, or pulling back just a full unopened can of pop.
Yeah, a can of soda that's behind the factory, behind the store.
Yeah. Restoring a full room will get you a pretty big upgrade, usually. These vary in usefulness, but generally they either let you engage with whatever system was tied to that room a little bit more deeply. And we'll talk about these when we get to the individual kind of bundle, or the individual kind of activities you can do. Or they give you a way around engaging with something else. So like an example would be, if you fish a whole bunch, a boulder will be destroyed and it will give you the ability to pan for ores, which is a way for you to get ores without going down into the mines and dealing with the combat and such.
Yeah. Yeah. Whichever of these microsystems you want to use, eventually you can make it work. And if you want to bypass that entire thing, you can get a Joja membership, Amazon membership. And the town, I think the mayor is like, if one more person signs up for a Joja membership, I'll die. I've never seen something so strongly signaled not to do this.
I know,
in
right?
a video game. I thought there'd be a non-standard game over if you did it, but it's a way of bypassing the collectathon in exchange for cash.
Yeah.
They're to build a warehouse. You just buy this stuff for money. You get that money however you like. And so if you've seen it all and you don't want to just like, I have to fish at night when it's raining, you can just do this.
Yeah. And the community center is replaced with a logistics facility. It's just a warehouse. For as much as this would benefit my style of play, I've never done it specifically because, it feels like a surrender. It feels like something awful that is happening to the town. And that's just one of the, many ways that the game kind of gets in its own way with the mechanics, and with the incentives and with whatever message it is trying to get across.
Yeah. I wish mechanically, I much prefer the warehouse route.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to grow one of every farm. The thing where it's like, give me 5 gold star versions of these rare crops. Like looking at that made me feel exhausted.
Yeah.
Like I knew how to do it. It's like, fertilizer increases my chances of getting that, etc. But I just got exhausted thinking about it. And in a way I didn't get exhausted spending $15,000 because I've been dropping half that on backpacks.
Yeah.
Left and right. Like, it's the economy of this game's real fucked and weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, mechanically I like the warehouse more, but narratively it was really trying to push me away.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is going to be kind of your major goal here, at least at the start. It's a way that the game kind of structures, gives you particular items to kind of shoot for. Another thing that is going to structure for you that you're not going to be aware of if you're just coming into this blind is the little shrine that is on your farm. Where, it's hidden behind some trees and stuff. You got to clear it away. But it's this little shrine. You can inspect it. Like if you get a spouse, they'll say, you should, keep the area around that clear. I feel like that place is pretty important. What happens is, at the end of your second year, at the beginning of your third year, your grandpa's ghost will show up at the shrine and judge your performance. It's your biannual review.
Yeah. You're not there to solve his murder.
Nope.
You are there just for him the idea of your grandpa coming back after 3 years to make you feel bad about not doing well enough at the farm makes me laugh a lot. I really wanted to tank the farm just to have grandpa's ghost come back and tell you he's disappointed in you.
One candle. Mediocre.
That is hilarious to me. That is very funny.
God.
He basically, he checks your money, what level you got into, whether you've been socializing, things like that, how far you are in completing the community center. And then that's it.
Yep.
The game continues. That's as close to a goal as there is, but it is a game without, like, you make your own goals in this game, basically. Yeah. Or there are many micro goals, but the ultimate goal is to keep playing the game, basically.
Yeah.
If you want, there's a really esoteric thing. You can give your grandpa's ghost a diamond, which he trades for like a day off of hell or something. And this starts the evaluation again. So
yeah, it dissipates the swarm of insects that locks him in place.
Yeah, he gets 15 minutes to think about your dead grandma before the locusts come back and start tearing at his genitals, and it costs them a diamond. So,
oh gosh, just bribing the locusts. It's fine.
let's talk about crafting.
Yeah, let's get into some of the system talk here. Crafting, you don't need to be at a bench, and also, like, this isn't a skill that you level up. It's a requirement for most of the things that you're going to end up doing.
You just have a menu, and if you have the stuff in your inventory, or if you have a workbench attached to chest that you just pop it open. It just adds to your inventory. Crafting things is cheaper than buying them, but is tied to level. So you have to get the level where you get the recipe. You can craft potions and simple foods ordinarily, which will increase your health, or stamina, things that are useful for combat. And the one thing I really like about this is if you craft a piece of furniture and drop it, you hit it with the axe, it goes back in your inventory. You're not like given one chance to place.
Yes. Yeah.
Things.
It ends up being, it doesn't break down into sticks, and then you have to put in more resources to move it around. No. It's quite nice. Same thing with like with the refining stance and the artisan stuff. Like any structure that you make, infinitely placeable and pickupable, which is pretty good. Those special stands that help you make money, those are pretty costly themselves, either in ore, metal bars and things like that, or special wood, hardwood, etc. And if you're going to be doing those at scale, you're going to want to make them at scale, which requires lots of material input.
Yeah. You also can make decorations. You get decorations as gifts and stuff and such as well.
Yeah.
For the Animal Crossing aspect of this.
Yeah.
I put up decorations in my house because I didn't know what else to do with them. And I showed my house to my girlfriend. She's like, my house is just full of crates. It's beds in a crate. And I'm like, oh, okay. But she doesn't, she's like somewhere, it's like a Colgary hybrid because she also doesn't factory farm. She also just tries to get, get married, close to married to as many people as possible. When she plays.
Nice.
But you can put the decorations up. This is a little fiddly.
Yeah.
Honestly. And the decorations are no great shakes. I found it was fine. I wish I could have sold.
Yeah, it would have been nice because I could have used that money for other stuff. Yeah, my house, like even when I upgrade it, it's basically just Russ Cole's apartment from True Detective.
Yeah.
But just
the psychopathness of this game goes real deep on many levels.
Oh gosh. So stuff that like qualifies as decoration but is actually functional is things like lamps, things like scarecrows, paths, and fences. Things like that. All of those are craftable. You're going to want to make those, like especially lamps. Learning how to build more efficient lamps with wider with that cast wider light ends up being pretty important if you intend to do any farming at night. This ends up being a very visually dark game when the sun goes down, which ends up being a little bit of a bummer. Yeah.
You either chop in the dark or you build the lights.
Yeah.
So farming is when you have the multiple steps to this. Use your hoe to create a good patch of dirt. You put down some seeds. You can also put down fertilizer or retaining soil, which means it won't have to be watered as often. Sometimes we'll retain the water, or speed grow, which will cut down the time. Which seemed to be the best one to me because I was not going for high star crops.
Yeah.
I would use it when I had it, but
the fertilizer is there if you are going to be trying to do any kind of like when you're doing the bundles and stuff. Speed grow for me that's good for throughput, especially for money, especially if you're going to be processing low star fruits and vegetables into jams and jellies and preserves and stuff like that. making pickled corn, which I don't think exists.
Gross.
Gross.
But you can't make pickled mushrooms, which definitely do exist.
Weird.
So, yeah, I don't know why you can't pickle those. Early on, then you have to water these unless it's raining. One of the things that early on you want to try to build towards are sprinklers. Early sprinklers suggest a hex-shaped field because they sprinkle in the 4 cardinal directions.
Yes.
I was like, that's not aesthetically pleasing.
No.
I'll wait for better sprinklers, and then just didn't.
Yeah.
Stop. But I would imagine waiting for the second level sprinklers is probably better. And this ends up being a huge section off your day. This saves you tons of time.
Yeah.
Hugely efficient. You can also upgrade your tools and stuff and make watering easy as well if you're still watering.
Yeah, which is very funny because you charge up your water, you charge up your sprinkler like it's Mega Man charging up a power shot.
Yep. There's a gun based on that in Enter the Gungeon that's actually really good, and that was my first exposure to this thing. Yeah. And it basically is exactly the same as the water can. The longer you charge it, the more it the more wider and further it goes.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah. So in addition to those sprinklers, different crops are going to grow in different ways. Some will produce a one-time harvest. Others stick around and produce new fruits or vegetables every few days. You tend to I tend to favor those, the multi-harvest ones. Just because it gives you
conventional.
Yeah. But there's also like high value stuff. I end up doing a little bit like half and half. Like during the summer, you're going to want to plant down melons. During the fall, you're going to want pumpkins. And those are single throw ones. Annoying.
Cannot stress you enough to sell your pumpkins before October 31st.
Oh man, if it keeps going this way.
Yeah.
Oh man.
One thing that is a kindness of this, I can't remember which Harvest Moon it is, but I played a Harvest Moon before where if you walk on your crops, you ruin them, which is horrendous. This one you can walk on your crops. Unless they have a post.
Yes, unless they have stakes or a trellis. Then it's a bummer. Yeah. You really have to make sure that everything is accessible so you can water everything if you're putting up the green beans and such. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is, you're going to lay this out. One of the things that, when I first started, I didn't really have an idea of this. I just made a little plot, because I came with 16 little parsnip seeds. Why not make a little plot? If I had this to do over again, I would do this with more intention. With sprinklers in mind, things like that.
Yeah.
There is a lot to the layout of this for maximizing your efficiency.
And I mean, like those early days too, like before you have a lot of money, like it's a little bit like early StarCraft. It's like how you use that first 200 minerals that you get is really, really important. Like you don't want to use that to build another SCV, stuff like that. What you build first, you're gonna want to plant those parsnips like kind of out of the way in a little like, okay, this is just my starter money crop, where 4 days later I can sell this and then actually get the seeds that I'm going to plant that are going to give me more of a yield this spring, stuff like that.
Apparently the pro thing is to sell your parsnip seeds and buy a different thing right away.
Yeah. I can see that.
Plant one parsnip so you have it for the collection quest. But go buy some potatoes.
Yeah, but you want to lay this out intentionally because if you end up wanting to make a change, you can't pull stuff up. Like there's no repotting or anything like that. So if you're waiting for a one-time harvest thing to grow, you don't want to pull it up, and especially if you have a multi-harvest one, you don't want to pull that up because then
you're wasting money.
You're wasting money because you're wasting time. So you want to be intentional and plan this around. And generally, the big changes that you're going to make are going to happen between seasons.
Yes. Yeah. There are also trees are an aspect of this. They are expensive. It's a lot of buy-in at first, and they take a whole season to grow. But then they will produce fruit for their entire fruit season that they're active. I had a nice pomegranate tree.
Yeah.
because I like a fruit that's a horrible challenge. I want a fruit that's a Squid Game.
Can I get a puzzle fruit, please?
Yeah, can I get a puzzle fruit? Also, I want to try pickling them whole because I was like, that's gross.
A lot of rind involved in that. Yeah.
Yeah. But eventually you can start, trees will also leave seeds for them, so you can plant them as well and create an orchard if you like.
Yeah. It's good. You buy the saplings and stuff. I always end up like planting 2 of each tree just so I can have the variety there for completing my bundles and such, because the fruit cave is a trap. We'll talk about the fruit cave.
I also did mushroom cave.
Yeah. So there is a room in the community center that has bundles that are related to farming. That's in the pantry. When you finish that, the reward on this is actually really good. It's a greenhouse. It's placed on your property, and it gives you a good sized plot inside and room to put pots down around the edges where you can plant and grow any crop year round. So this is a way for you to, eventually I fill it all with star fruits. It's a way for you to farm productively in the winter when normally that is cut off for you. Like winter is a whole season where your farm, necessarily needs to lay fallow.
Yeah, you dungeon and socialize until you get this thing ready. I did not get close to the greenhouse. The greenhouse is actually rebuilt. The forest goblins rebuilt it for you.
Yes. Yeah.
Your grandpa let it go. The teens, the local, and we know them. There's only a couple teens. We know them by face. They came in through rocks.
Jace. Come on, Jace. Come on.
We got each other pregnant in the old greenhouse.
Shaking my
livestock is kind of a weird. So if you're playing this from the Gary perspective and you're just starting, livestock is something that you don't actually want to invest in that early. It gives you the option for it. It's very expensive, but it gives you the option very early on, and it can tie up a lot of your money. And I also did not know that I needed to have a silo for feed. So winter was going to get, if I played till winter, it was going to get real expensive because I could not afford a silo.
Yeah. No, the silo, more so even than just the money that's required for that. I think the silo also requires clay, which
clay was the issue.
Yeah. Clay's the bottleneck on that. And you want to have a silo there, pretty early on, at least by summer, if you're going to naturally fill it up with any just mowing that you're going to be doing. Yeah.
In terms of this game, being a town populated by psychopaths, this is a carpenter that requires you to provide wood. And which is ridiculous, but she does hammer day and night during thunderstorms to make it work. It's so weird. The first time I went outside and it was storming and she was just like building my kitchen. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Robin, go home.
Go home. Robin, your husband misses you.
Demetrius is calling me.
Yeah. It was very funny. So, but the idea, so you had to provide not just money. It's very expensive in terms of time and harvesting.
Yeah.
To build these buildings. I eventually did get some chickens from Marnie, the animal monger, and they were cute. But I did not get anything other than chickens.
Yeah. You can get a whole lot of different animals. And as the game goes on, you can buy different ones there. You buy them as babies. Then then they populate. You select which building they're going to live in, either a barn or a coop. And starts at just chickens and cows. It's intuitive what they're going to make. You milk the cows. The
chimera once they breed.
It's horrible. They should not be.
Yeah, you take the horrible crossbreed, you put it in the pickling liquid, and then you sell it to the local freak show guy who comes by every second Thursday during spring and fall.
Please, pageant of the transmundane.
Yes.
So, that's a Simpsons joke. Just say I always engage in this just to give myself a little bit of variety, and I think that the animals are cute. I've not run the economic. I'm sure it is not as economically rewarding to do all of this. Also because unless you put in the time and money to automate this, you end up having a lot of steps to do early on, especially if you have multiple buildings. You know, you need to make sure that they're fed unless you have an auto feeder, which involves going to the actual building and then getting getting hay out of the hopper and putting it in the trough. You want to go and pet each of them once per day to keep them happy, and then you have to get their product, which involves either picking it up off the floor if it's eggs, or milking them with the pail if it's a cow. It's a lot of individual things to do that can be automated away, like sprinkling, but that doesn't come until much later.
Yeah. Yep. You can then sell these products or process them. You have mayo machines. You stick a single egg in and it comes out with a big gross jar of mayonnaise. Same thing with milk. Milk can be turned into cheese. There's a horse, which I did not get. Tell me about the horse.
The horse there are multiple kinds of fast travel. So the horse, you build a little stable for it. You don't have to feed it or anything. You hop on it and you move faster. It's like getting a mount in an MMO or something like that. The horse will not go in the minecart if you go. And if you do any teleporting, the horse will just kind of stay at the far end of the teleport. If you use the totems and stuff. So you have to manage where the horse is going to go. But it is a good way to get around town quickly and, again, fit in more tasks during your day. It's one of the first things you're going to build that requires hardwood from breaking apart the stumps.
Yeah. I definitely got some hardwood and was told, gleaned its importance from looking online.
Yeah.
But there's also some odd stuff that I read about. You can raise slimes. Slimes are the basic dungeon monster. And then there's void chickens, which provide void eggs, which provides void mayonnaise, which is needed for a quest. And the idea of void mayonnaise is very funny to me.
Yeah.
Speaking of StarCraft.
Oh, God. Void mayonnaise is great because it smells like ashes. And if you give it to people, they fucking hate it.
Yeah. So one guy likes it, right?
It's
like Shane or somebody loves it.
I forget. It's definitely the henchman up in the witch's bog. But yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, somebody really enjoys the legacy of the void mayonnaise.
Yeah, you get a void chicken. It's a random event. A witch will fly over one of your coops and curse it.
Yeah, or you buy it from the little green ghoul that you know in the sewer.
You get a Krobus.
You can also buy some void mayo from him. Yeah. From Grogo.
Heard he fought an ostrich once, allegedly.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh God. There are other products too. Like you can get sheep or rabbits that'll produce wool. The ducks will leave feathers. Chillingly, if you have rabbits around, they'll just occasionally drop lucky rabbit's feet, which I don't.
Just their baby feet. Yeah. They grow. The very intentionally concerned ape, the gentleman, did not want any harvesting of animals.
Yes, no slaughter
in the game.
Yeah,
there's no slaughter. So when you get pigs, they don't provide bacon; they hunt up truffles, which is cute.
Yeah, that's pretty valuable too. You can turn the truffles into truffle oil. They end up being useful in different recipes. Yeah. So we talked about processing some of the items. This ends up being a pretty big deal. A good deal of the real estate on my farm every time is dedicated to sheds and sheds full of these machines. And this is a whole branch you can take where you turn suboptimal crops into a different material, either things like jelly, jam, juice, wine, things like that, that sells for a consistent and dependable price. So anything that is like silver or above in quality, you can sell as it is. Everything that is just kind of chaff, you run it through this, and it's just an investment of time, and you get out something that will juice the value on it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of these.
Yeah.
So I got to the jams and juices. Did not get the loom, or I got a mayo machine as well.
Yeah.
Did not make a cheese press, did not get a keg, or anything like that.
Yeah.
But these are all things you can do.
Yeah.
And then their wine, beer, and cheese can be aged in your cellar.
Yeah.
Once you've upgraded your house, you have a cellar, and this will increase their value as well. Again, just trading time and money back and forth ad infinitum.
Yeah. Stardew Valley.
Yeah, very much so.
Here is a tip that is incredibly good. So you're going to get these sheds to put around. It's like a TARDIS. It takes up 6 spaces on your map, but it is a gigantic thing inside. You can occasionally forget to check. If you leave one of the processing machines outside, and then just fill all of them at once, you'll have a nice little visual indicator that whatever's inside will be done as well. So that is my pro tip for you. If you haven't figured out to do that, that way you don't lose a day of productivity, for which you will be punished eternally. You're going to join your grandpa in hell.
Yeah, Cole will punish you for this. I left mine outside in a fenced-in area as the world's worst arcade. Basically is what it looked like.
Yeah. Instead of quarters, it's an egg, and instead of high scores, it's mayonnaise.
Yeah, you just keep. Hey, the slot machine's paying out. Every 6 days, I get a big wad of mayonnaise that flies out of it. It was real gross. I also, embarrassingly, when you get the ancient seed, I thought that would be a cool secret.
Okay.
So I gave that its own little pen.
Oh,
I was thinking it's the ancient seed. Well, I don't even know what's going to grow. It just turns out ancient fruit.
Yeah.
Fuck off. So mad.
Yeah. Just ancient fruit. It's good for making wine.
Yeah. It'd be like a dinosaur or some shit.
You don't know. You get dinosaurs in Skull Cavern, buddy.
I know. I thought there'd be something to it. So it had its own little bad arcade.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So we mentioned ground fruit. We mentioned the horseradish you can chop. This is all related to foraging and forestry. This is all under the foraging skill. This is picking wild plants that are lying around town, and also shaking berries and stuff like that. And as you level it up, get more items per pick, and the quality of each of them is going to be better.
Yeah. And this is a way to get snacks on your way to the dungeon, cheap ingredients for jelly, or cheap gifts. The plum rose or primrose or something like that.
No,
something during the summer is
the fiddlehead fern is widely people love that.
Yeah, good gifts for free.
Yeah.
There are different ones each season. There's a bundle for each season, so you want to put those together. You also can dig through people's trash, do some urbex foraging to find things. If someone catches you, they will like you less. Except for the homeless fella.
Yeah.
He doesn't mind. But yeah, this is something else you can do when you're there before everyone wakes up.
Yeah.
Dig through their garbage because you're a real weirdo.
Yep. Oh, hey, they're not using it. Come on.
Yeah.
This bird cage is only mostly dented.
Exactly.
So, the weirdly, what you find in the trash cans is linked to how deep you've gone in the mines. So, if you want to improve that yield, you got to go deeper down there, which I have not puzzled through the implications of that.
Yeah, I don't know what the cosmology is.
Yeah.
It's also chopping down trees is related to this. Trees will drop seeds, which you can plant, so you can have a forest for forestry or for tapping trees. Also to get mahogany, which is gives you hardwood.
Yep.
Which is a high level recipe thing. You craft a tapper and attach it to a tree, and then you get that sap. I never got a maple tree, which is what I wanted because I wanted to make a beekeeping thing. You need maple syrup for that.
Yeah.
But I did get some pine tar, which I didn't have a whole lot of uses for, but I was still early in the game.
Yeah. You can get a good variety. You can go to Cinder Sap Forest just south of your farm and cut down all of those trees. That is a forest for you to maintain. You want to do that. Go there and chop down the weeds, because each of those patches of weeds that's there, that is a potential spawning place for forageables every couple of days. And also, if you chop down trees, new ones will grow, potentially of different varieties. So then you can bring those back to your farm and work out an efficiency. I let it overgrow, thin it out, let it overgrow, thin it out, and it's a constant source of wood.
There you go.
In addition to being,
I did not clear my farm. I still had trees on my farm. Yeah. At this point,
in addition to being a constant source of tree blood,
Yes.
Things like that
in the form of sap.
Yeah. You can also just a random event in the fall will give you big mushroom trees. which is fun. And then you can like those will grow and spread just like any other tree, and those are good for getting lots of mushrooms for high level potions and things like that. Another source of mushrooms would be the cave on your farm. After you've accumulated enough money, Demetrius, kind of the town researcher, will come by and give you an option, saying, "Okay, I can either study fruit bats here, and they will occasionally leave fruit behind that you can gather. This is a trap. You want to make this the mushroom cave because mushrooms end up being way more valuable."
Yeah, mushrooms are used in potions. The fruit is good in case you miss fruit. You can get off-season fruit there. So it could potentially paper over if you've been, haven't been growing everything as you go. But the longer term, you only get to make this choice once.
Yeah.
So getting these 6 mushrooms every 2 days is better. Also a consistent source of a little bit of cash.
Yeah.
You also find artifacts. There's a museum subquest with a weird Civil War reenactor who's always in costume. You get these either from the mine. You can also get them from the ground. If you see worms on the ground, you can use your hoe there to get artifacts or clay. I never noticed these. I didn't know about this the entire time because they just faded into the background for me and I never thought to do it.
Yeah.
And I was asking Liv, I'm like, why don't I have enough clay for the silo? And she's like, well, you have to kill the worms. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And she explained it to me. But yeah, you want to be on the lookout for that stuff.
I'm happy that it's not an extra tool. Like it's not a shovel that you have to upgrade, but if it was a shovel, I would probably intuit, digging stuff up like it was, Link's Awakening, right?
Yeah, same.
Yeah. So for the foraging bundles in the crafts room at the community center, this will repair the bridge near the mine. This is, again, another way to get around mining. This bridge will lead to the quarry up there in the mountains, where different stones will appear. There's a chance that these will be ore nodes that will pop up where you can break them apart. This is a source of stone for you as well. And it's a good place to plant trees if you want more trees.
There you go. Yeah. There's a fishing in this game because of course there is. It's a relaxed game that takes after the Super Nintendo. The fishing is weird. You can bait your hook. You can do all that stuff. You don't have to. You can just get your basic rod. You cast out your line to any body of water. You get a bite. And you do this mini game where the fish is rising, lowering on this meter. You control this little field you want it to stay in by pressing the button, but there's a lot of momentum and bounce to the bar. It has gravity. It will bounce when it hits the ground, etc.
Yeah.
And some fish are just real wild, going back and forth. They have a much easier turning radius.
Yeah.
Basically than you, for lack of a better word. So it is pretty tricky.
Yeah.
To do this.
This is improved over time, either through adjustments that they have made or by kind of the addition of different lures that will change the behavior of the bar. I do not like fishing, and I have never met somebody who was crazy about the fishing in this game.
There's a path for it. You can choose to become a specific kind of angler, and there's a fishing farm that you can choose, but it was not. I liked it because it was not clicking. Most of the verb you do in this is just go up to the thing and hit action. It's all contextual verbs, down to, same thing with giving gifts, socializing, same thing with combat, right? It was all very simple. I liked this for having a degree of complexity to it.
Yeah.
But not enough to do it forever, not enough to do it a lot. I just did it when the opportunity struck.
Yeah.
And it's I got some time to kill before the Adventurers Guild opens up or whatever. I'll fish.
Yeah. Yeah. But just like anything, you can improve your tools on this and get more things. Like your bait will determine your bite rate. So will your luck. So will your skill. Things like that. You can find other kinds of fish either by just finding shellfish on the ground, or you can put out crab pots and leave bait inside in different spots, and this will bring you crawfish and things like that.
The one great decoration you can get is you can buy a fish tank and you can put any fish in it. So that's kind of nice. It allows you to have another pet.
Yeah.
Marnie also gives you a cat or dog. They don't do anything.
No, they'll meow.
They meow.
It's basically like having a kid, which also they don't do anything.
Which you can abort extremely late by turning them into a bird.
Yep.
And erasing everyone's memory of them.
grim.
It's weird.
Oh man. So something that was added way late after the release is fish farms that you can do. These are structures that you can build where you will throw in like a kind of fish, and they will request different like different seeds and different items that you can throw in, and they will multiply and then produce roe for you, roe and caviar and stuff like that.
Mining and combat are part of this. You head into the mine, which is monsters / rocks. You hit boulders with your pickaxe, which produces stones. Sometimes you get common gems, or boulders will give you ore. You want this. You take this ore to a smelter, and you turn into bars of that ore, which you use to upgrade your tools for lots of recipes, things like that. This was a big bottleneck for me early on, trying to get enough steel to make sprinklers for my entire field.
Yeah.
Big early bottleneck.
You can buy ore at the blacksmith shop. However, it is very, very expensive. I've not done like the conversion on the time or anything, but like combat is one of the most involved, and like getting to the bottom of the mine is one of the most involved things you can do. So this is a way that you bring some variety into things. It's also the only time where like failure is possible because you can die in combat here.
Yeah.
So you go into the mines. It's really deep. Each floor is procedurally generated. Some are big, some are small, and you have to kill enemies and break boxes and mine or break the boulders to try and find the stairway down to the next level.
Yeah, which is luck dependent. You don't want to be doing a lot of this on a day when you have bad luck because it will be in the last boulder, basically. The combat here this is very interesting. Like this will be a differentiation between play scales, right? So on the 23 to 25 hour playthrough, 100 levels in the basic mine, enemy variety was not good. I don't, if it gets good later, like I totally believe it. If it does it on a really slow scale.
Yeah. No.
Because I was fighting largely it was only in the last like 20 levels that I started running into enemies with projectiles. Other than that, it's just things that go towards you.
Yeah.
Sometimes fast, sometimes slow, but it felt like a flash game. Like it felt like a flash mini game for most of it.
Yeah. It gets pretty involved late in the mines, and then really, really involved when you get to the Skull Cavern and the volcano. Fighting just big mix-ups of folks, really dangerous ones too, like ones that will summon other enemies and ones that will poison you, ones that will inflict like a darkness kind of deal. You have shades that can only be attacked in certain ways. It is like everything in the game, kind of a slow ramp up early on. They want the mines to be more about getting copper and getting your stuff upgraded, at least enough to break apart and clear the farm, and then it slowly becomes less about mining and more about killing the enemies and getting deeper.
Yeah, it's a really interesting illustration. Yeah, right, because few games work on that time scale. You know, like where it's like 20 hours to show its hand. Yeah, you know, it's a very slow thing. Like I did a lot of it. I got relatively far in the mines for my playtime, but it was just something to do when it was raining. And me falling out of love with this was a big part of me, like being sick of the game, was realizing that, oh man, there's just going to be all these enemies. I just walk up to them and corner them and then tap the button until they die. Like there's no, it's not very deep early on. Yeah. Like I can believe that they add depth. Yeah. But early on it was just like the worst action RPG.
Yeah. Managing like knockback and things like that, and crowd control ends up being pretty important as well. It definitely does open up, which is not an excuse for it being unengaging early on.
Yeah. It just keeping an eye on the time scale we're looking at. Yeah. Which was again the weird thing in the Slack where people are like, oh yeah, pretty early on you get really advanced monsters, and I'm like, no. What's early on? And they're like, no, like year 2, year 3, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? But it's basically Zelda. You swing your sword left, or it's patterned after that slash. You get better weapons and stuff like that. A lot of times at breakpoints in the dungeon, it'll be a reward. At an even numbered dungeon floor, you'll get a new sword or what have you. Yeah. And you do have bombs and cherry bombs and stuff that you can use for mining to blow up a lot of rocks at once or in combat.
Yeah.
This at the time was a bad value proposition for me.
It ends up being super important. Oh, good.
Or I used the ones I found, but crafting them was not worth the money.
Yeah, it takes ore and stuff like that. Like early on, it is a bad investment. Later on, especially when you're doing the skull cavern, which ends up not having the shortcut system that the main one does. So you need to get as deep as quickly as possible, coming in with a full complement of bombs and knowing how to use them without killing yourself, to clear large swaths of the place as quickly as possible to get the stairs down is very important. So bombs become really necessary for success, in my experience. You can also, if you have just a shitload of stone, you can craft staircases, which is very fun. Just as a concept, like I have this portable staircase that I can bring in. Yeah. That'll just automatically, you don't have to go hunting for it. You can just tunnel down as quickly as you need to. Or if it's taking too long, like some of the floors, like especially the ones that are laid out like big spirals, they take a long time to get to the center of. If you want to skip that floor, especially if you see that there are no mineral nodes here, then that is a viable way to get around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You get equipment. So you get footwear, which determines your defense and your immunity to status effects, or weapons, which have damage and swing speed. There are rings that give you various special effects. So magnetism, like drawing in items closer to you or from further away into you, or light they present. There's one that like halves the number or the length of status effects, ones that increase damage, critical hits, stuff like that.
Yeah. It's pretty important. Like if you're gonna be going on a big trip, you're going to want to have a couple and switch these around. Is a worthwhile thing to do in between floors. There's range combat through slingshots. This is for really, really specific circumstances. You're not going to need to use this early on. There are just not that many enemies where it benefits you to use ammo to kill them at a distance.
Yeah, you had to have rocks for them, and there are an unlimited supply of rocks down in the dungeon, but that is an inventory slot.
Yes,
that could be used for something better.
Yeah,
monsters drop loot, which some of which is valuable early on. It's not a very big moneymaker in the first 100 or whatever, but you can use them for more arcane recipes, and they are required in different bundles. This is also the mine was the primary place I was finding artifacts. To give to the museum, which also has rewards at breakpoint, some of which are really meaningful, some of which are decorations, but some of which are cool.
Yeah. So mining is related to the boiler room bundles in the community center. This is a big one that you're going to want to go after, getting those ores and such, because if you complete it, you unlock one of the forms of fast travel, which is the mine carts. There's, it's not like right on your farm. You have to go over to the bus stop to do the nearest one, but you can go to the quarry, you can go into the mines, and you can go to like over by the blacksmith in the museum on the far side of town. So this will save you a good amount of running. This is especially valuable if you have not gotten the horse together. It's even faster than the horse to get to certain places.
No. This is also part of a larger bundle, the Bank Vault bundle, where you're putting larger and larger amounts of money into it. When you do this, it unlocks the bus that's just broken down. They finally repair it, which will take you to the Calico Desert, which is an end game kind of zone. Yeah, which we'll talk about. You're not really meant to get there in your first year.
Yeah,
what have you?
We've already talked a little bit about cooking. To a degree, like this is something you can only do either at fires if you build like a campfire, crafting one of those, but like the primary place is if you upgrade your house, you're going to get a kitchen, which will give you a stove, and will give you a fridge, which is just built-in storage, basically. It's not a skill that can be leveled up. Instead, you just collect recipes, either through skills or through watching the Queen of Sauce show.
And this is for stat effects or gifts, as we mentioned.
Yeah.
There's several shops in town, Jen. We mentioned the main general store is Pierre's. It's closed every Wednesday, closes at 9. Sells really basic staples, or maybe it closes at 6. I know that the JoJo Mart stays open later, which is part of the balance.
Yes.
But basically sells farm supply stuff and whines about JoJo Mart.
Yes.
Yeah.
It does not like being edged out of business, even though Jojo Mart is wildly worse than his place.
There's also in this building, there is an exercise room and a church.
Mm-hmm.
In the general store off to the right if you go through an unmarked door. That feels really kludged together. Like it felt like he was designing the buildings as a draft to me.
It felt like that weird building that has all the failed businesses in Disco Elysium.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And it was like, oh, there's a god in this world? Like, who do they worship? And it's I think it's some kind of nature spirit thing.
Yeah.
It's not going to be Jesus Christ. And this has enough affection for old Super Nintendo games where it's going to avoid God, like the Christian God.
Yeah.
I assume they worship the forest goblins.
Oh yeah, the Junimos. Yeah. It's animistic, the religion here. Yeah. There's the carpenter shop kind of up toward the mountains. This is where Robin lives, and you can buy upgrades for your house. You can also get like decorations and new structures for your farm. We'll talk about house upgrades in just a minute.
Clint the blacksmith sells ores, upgrades your tools, and cracks open geodes when you find them. It's random. What you're going to get, either get like the dud, you get rocks, or you get artifacts.
Yeah,
and such.
And higher level geodes, like you'll find ice geodes or lava geodes. Those have higher chances for rare things.
Yeah. Marnie sells all the livestock and livestock stuff, having an affair with the mayor. As you can find the mayor's underwear in her bedroom. I got the quest, but I was nowhere near enough, like friends enough with Marnie.
Nope.
And had no idea how to give her friends. We'll talk about socializing.
Yeah.
I have bones to pick with socializing.
Yes.
In this game. The museum with the Civil War enthusiasts.
Gunter.
Gunther, the Civil War enthusiast. We talked about him a little bit. I like that you get to lay out the museum. If you like. Just another little place where you can have fun with organization if you like.
Yeah. And you can like examine all these things for like little bits of like little lore and story. Some of these are like texts that you have found that'll give like the history of the valley. Unnecessary, but cute and quaint. Yeah.
The Adventurers Guild. This is where you can buy better weapons, defensive items. It's also where the bounties for the different monsters are paid off.
Yeah.
So the main guy there's an old guy who just lives at the shop, and he will give you things if you've killed a certain number of slimes or spirits or what have you.
Yeah. Yeah. End up being pretty valuable to at least keep track of those bounties. You may have earned them without realizing it. Yeah. Down by the beach is Willie's fish shop. Willie's a solid guy. He'll give you your first rod for free. And this is where you can get better fishing poles and lures. And buy bait.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, and buy bait. Yes.
Yeah. People are hilariously single issue voters in this. Willie is continuously holding events to raise fishing awareness. Like I will give $100 to anyone who can catch 3 of these fish because I want more people to fish. And then he's like, man, if more people in this town fished, I could fix my boat. And I'm like, what do you do all day? Like, you have enough time to do this. This town is pathetic. Really.
You really should not be like waiting for me to show up and whip you into shape, dudes.
Yeah, why do I have to come in from the city and like teach all the politics of this game? The city man coming in and fixing the lives of these poor country bumpkins. There's a traveling cart that appears in Cinder Snap Forest. This appears on a schedule, but I did not know the schedule at all.
I think it's Wednesdays and Sundays. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's Wednesday and Friday, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Friday's the second day, but you could be right as well.
Yeah.
This is just from me looking up today. This felt random to me because I didn't know. But it sells out of season items and kind of luxury things.
Yeah. The rare seed is a trap. It takes forever to grow, and it doesn't yield anything that is particularly useful or valuable. Yeah.
And if you forget to water it one day, it dies.
Yeah.
It's a real baby.
Yeah. And then over by the museum, you have the Joja Mart. This will remain until you finish the community center and perform the celebration ceremony. Then it is just abandoned. It doesn't become anything.
It does.
Well, I mean, you have to do extra bundles to turn it into the movie theater. Yes. But I like that it is just, hooray, we chased them out of town. Now let it fall to blight.
Yep. Just let the teens go there and impregnate each other. So at first I was very confused by this because I was like, okay, the messaging of this game is that Amazon bad, local business good. why is Amazon more expensive? Because you should be a moral choice. Like, I'm choosing to support local business.
Yeah.
It turns out once you have the membership, things here are less expensive.
Yes.
So you do save money. It's open until 11. It's open on Wednesdays. So it is more convenient to use the JoJo Mart once you have the membership. Beforehand, there's no reason to support it.
Yes. If you complete the community center and run them out of town on a rail, then Pierre is making enough money to have the store open 7 days a week.
Yeah. He gets into a fist fight with the guy.
He does.
Yeah. I looked at the scene online. I was like, shit. Pierre's pissed. You can also upgrade your house, which takes Herculean amounts of money and wood and stone. Very expensive. Robin does this working day and night in the rain, 24-hour days. The first upgrade gives you your kitchen. As we mentioned before, the cooking and stuff. Second upgrade gives you room for a family. So you get a nursery and a larger bedroom. This is how you can have a baby if you decide to have one. And then the third upgrade gives you a cellar so you can age things.
Yes.
Age your beers, wines, and cheeses.
Yeah. You can make special casks to put down there. Yeah. Your first house is really limited. You at the very least want to get the second one.
Yeah. Just have some extra space.
Yeah. Yeah, we're getting into kind of like some of the softer social kind of things here. Like, we could talk about each individual festival, but like they all kind of break down to being roughly the same thing. For me, in the way that I play, they're a little bit of an annoyance because they happen at scheduled times during each season, but they still sneak up on me, and they make it so you don't want to go into a particular part of town because it'll skip you to the end of the day because you're going to go. What's that?
It ruins your rhythm.
Yeah.
Yeah. People, I hope people who are screaming at me during this episode are screaming at you now.
Yeah.
Because I know there are people who love these festivals.
How dare you disrespect the Egg Festival? Like,
the people fucking love it, dude. Like, there are people, like, so the thing that they feed into is you get to talk to everybody and they like it. And then there are events that increase your social standing with people.
Yes.
Neither of us really engage with that system very much.
No.
But for some people, it is the game. For they're also strategically, like, the advanced strategy that I was reading about is that, like, some of the festivals are worth going to for the social benefits and some are not.
Yeah.
You get to see whether they're a good cost benefit analysis, like paying a day essentially to give everyone in town a gift. The highlights, for me include the group potluck where everyone just throws something into the fucking pot. And they're just like, bring anything you want. And I threw some jelly in there, and the people are like, this is good fucking jelly. And I'm like, cool. This is a good stew. And I'm like, this is everyone here is a fucking disgusting ogre. This town needs to be nuked from the face of the earth. Get the brother to steal the land vertebrates and just raise this whole zone.
We're just gonna have to start from scratch.
Well, the governor loved the soup because I put an entire jar of mayonnaise in it. Cool. It's so gross.
Yeah. The highest reward you can get is at the Harvest Festival, like where you for the 4-H stand or whatever it is. Got to bring your bring your highest quality goods. You can get like a Stardew drop or a star drop from that, which is good to do at least once. And then the night market is good. This is down by the docks where a bunch of little store barges will pull up, and you can buy stuff out of season.
Yeah. You can also apparently get cool, rare stuff from the equivalent of Christmas. Yeah. If you're friends with people that give you things. Let's talk about socializing.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's just rip this Band-Aid off and make people annoyed at us.
Get back to the farm. So the way that when I said this earlier, I said it in kind of a dismissive way, and I kind of mean it. Like, this, why wouldn't relationships just be a water you can crop in this game, or a crop you can water? Yeah. Like, it is just it's a pretty naked example of what I don't like in how video games handle relationships, which is give right gift, make meter go up. You know their birthdays, so and their universal dislikes. Like nobody likes being handed a trash, right? The soggy newspaper is not going to get anybody on your side. Like here, you can do decoupage. Like nobody cares. The thing I don't like is that it's trial and error.
Yeah.
For this, there's some things that relate to their personality. Right. So like Maru was the person I got the highest number of hearts with, the daughter of Robin and Demetrius. Maru is a scientist, so she likes science stuff. So I was like, oh, cool. I'll give her rare ores and things like that. And I did enough to where I got an event for her. But I was looking up her favorite things. You really want to be min-maxing this and giving her absolute favorite things, like, and making sure you don't miss her birthday and give her absolute favorite thing on her birthday to actually make this work. Yeah. It's desperately trial and error, or you look up a wiki and it reduces people to meters you fill up.
Yes.
Which I do not like.
And to me, it's annoying a little bit to think about how, I don't know, I shouldn't say it's annoying because the way other people play this, I don't understand the appeal of it, because what you get by increasing the meters of these folks, largely the reward, it's not going to be mechanical. It's going to be, you're going to learn specific things about them. You're going to get events, things about their past will be revealed, things about what they like, their relationships with other people. Like all of that has the potential to be, interesting and good if you're a person who, will kind of like engaging with these kind of, generously sketched characters, let's say. But in order to get that, you need to either, use your limited gift opportunities to figure out, and it'll keep track for you, like of what they like and what they don't like. But like once you figure it out, in order to make this happen at anything approaching like a scale, if it's a goal that you're going to be working toward, what you do is you put a chest outside of their house, kind of know where they're, when they're going to be there, and you just fill that chest with their favorite things. And then when their cooldown for the gift goes away, you go and you grab that thing from inside there, then you go in and give it to them, and then wait for the cooldown to come back, and then see the and then just see the events as your hearts go up. And then if romance is what you're aiming for, that will be what you're going to be working toward. It is very mechanical, and this is consistent for us. Go back and listen to the Harvest Moon, or the Harvest Moon SimCity episode that we did many years ago. We also did not like that system there. Here it's nice because it is friendship. It is not just something that you do to woo a particular person. The relationship comes if you do particular steps afterwards. Yeah, it's a real bummer because of how strictly transactional it is.
If you've been rankling at the idea that I keep calling this game psychopath shit, go back and listen to the sentence where Cole just said that the way that you manage the relationships here is put a crate outside someone's house, fill it with things they like, and then give it to them on their cooldown. That is what you do. I'm not blaming you for that. Yeah. It's just the game is enforcing psychopathic behavior.
No, it's enforcing psychopathic behavior or wildly suboptimal behavior where you can undo your progress if you give them the wrong thing.
Yeah, those are the two options. The actual events, when I was reading the events that you get, some of them are pretty interesting, and the characters are better sketched out as you get further. Yes. I think that they actually made a pretty big mistake. Well, they didn't make a mistake. It was wildly successful.
Right, yeah.
If they were trying to court me, they made a mistake by making the characters really boring at first. And then they only reveal their depths once you do engage with the system, because it works on the assumption you're going to want to make friends with everybody and fill those meters. Yeah. And if you don't have that, then there's not really an incentive to do it. I would be fine without an incentive mechanically, because I'm fine with that as like a hangout game. I didn't have an incentive narratively or in terms of like characterization. Yeah. Like I was like, this person seems real boring. Cool. Like you go do your thing. I'll do my thing. Yeah. I'll be the weird town hermit. Yep. I show up smelling a fish to the dance. No one will dance with me.
Yep. And every once in a while, if it's a quest, I'll walk up to you and hand you a bag of jewels. Like it's Freddy got fingered.
Here's that tomato you ordered. I know it's in a few days. I hope you still want it. It's very strange, and it is a huge part of I was looking on YouTube for advanced tips on this game. There's all kinds of like ranking the waifus of Stardew Valley, mods to make them more naked or more cute anime girl, or all kinds of stuff to change the system. And I just don't have the gene in me that wants to make a cartoon girlfriend.
Yep.
It's not interesting. Even with more systems, like you said, look back to Harvest Moon, look back to BioWare games. Like I hate this shit. Like I hate just putting, like we're doing Fallout 4. It's not, you don't give people gifts in that.
Yeah.
It's more just like, they like it when you lockpick and you're going to be picking a lot of locks, but I just, the way I don't think video games model human behavior in a way that's acceptable.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a little bit too faithful to its predecessors. And I don't get it. If you enjoy this, go with God. We're not going to be the people to kind of examine the ins and outs of these individual people. I know that like when I have tried doing the romance stuff in this, I was like, oh, Leah seems nice. And that's about it. So
the one event I got with Maru, I was hanging out with her doing an experiment. She left the room and her dad, like, she's a nice girl and I want to keep it that way or something like that. And I was like, holy shit, weird. And she came back and she's like, what's the matter? And I had the option to say nothing or your dad was acting weird.
Yeah.
And apparently if you snitch on her dad, it like does irrevocable harm to a relationship.
Oh no.
And I was like, yeah, it was being fucking weird.
Yeah.
Looking at the options, I read like 4 or 5 of the different, character storylines, and they're not always intuitive.
Yeah.
What you're supposed to do during these little choose your own adventure parts.
Yeah. One of the benefits of having people at high levels of friendship is they'll send you things. You'll just get the mail, say like, oh, here's a rock. There you go. It is not something that you can like depend on though, as a source of materials that you need to accomplish goals.
And you get access to their rooms, which you ordinarily cannot go into, which is necessary for quest. Once I figured out all of this stuff, the fact that the mayor sent me on a quest to get his underwear back from Marnie is one of the weirdest power moves I've ever seen in like a video game. Like that is some like bragging to your bros about getting laid shit on a level I've never seen in my life.
Yeah. from 2 of the most like innocently wholesome characters in the game.
They are not wholesome, dude.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm saying. These still waters run deep.
The most apparently wholesome.
Stinky. Yeah. Like these are fucking raw, raunchy waters. This is the runoff behind a Sybaris pool suites. In terms of still waters running deep.
What the fuck? What's this? What's Sybaris? What?
Sybaris pool suites were hotels that they advertised in Illinois that had a little tiny pool inside the room that were made for fucking.
Oh no!
They were like romance hotels, and yeah, me and my friends used to always joke about the guy who had to clear the filters for the pool in the Sybaris pool suites. So
we got to come jam.
Junction 4, dude.
Yeah,
and not the kind that came out of the awful Mayo machine. Void cum. Yeah. So, but I thought it was very strange. Like, hey, brother, get my underwear out of my side pieces room. Okay, Mayor. Still leave you around. I'll see you tonight through your window at 2:01. You won't see me.
If I don't do this, will you send me to prison? We're already there.
Yeah. Just, do you think you can leave? The bus is broken. All ways out of the town are broken.
Uh-huh. Try and run. You'll end up in a fucking desert.
Yeah. Yeah. It's extremely purgatorial video game we got going on here.
Oh man, including the wizard. Most of your main story progress is going to happen with the wizard. This is the one, like it's the one exception because becoming friends with Rasmodius ends up getting you little treats and access to different places. You want to get to 4 hearts so you can go inside the wizard tower and go to his basement to use the Shrine of Illusions or use his spell book to buy high level structures. particularly the obelisks, which require ridiculous amounts of rare things, but you build them on your farm, and when you interact with them, it just warps you.
You teleport.
Yeah, out to particular locations. You could craft totems that would do this, but those are consumable in your inventory.
Yeah.
This is this is nice to get these. You can also get this is how you get the Junimo huts.
Yeah, which you can have your free labor, your unpaid labor.
Yes,
your interns. If an NPC is single, you can propose marriage to them. Once you have 10 hearts of friendship with them, you start dating at 8 hearts by giving them a bouquet, and you propose marriage by buying the mermaid's pendant, which is found from a mysterious old man who doesn't live anywhere, who lives down by the tide pool.
Yep.
So this is some real Innsmouth Bride shit.
I love how you divorce. You give them a wilted bouquet.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry.
This is how I feel about you.
The spouse moves in on the first day, waters all your plants for you as a wedding gift, and then afterwards does chores randomly around the farm.
Yeah.
If you have a nursery, your spouse might ask if you want to have a kid.
Yes. If you're in a same-sex arrangement, you'll adopt. If you're in a heterosexual arrangement, then you get a biological kid, and this gives you a graphic.
Yes. It walks around your house. You increase its friendship. If you want to abort the kid, I read about this. There's a ritual where you turn them into doves and erase everyone in town's memory of them. I love that.
Fucking bleak.
I think that's very funny. Like, just incredible.
Yeah. It's kind of neat because each individual person that you can marry, like they'll move in and make part of the house their own. Like they'll do like redecorating. Like there's a spot outside where they'll engage in their hobby. I think Shane fixes up his motorcycle. Leah sculpts out there and stuff like that. Like that's cool. You get to learn about them. You have to maintain the friendship, and there's a chance that if you give a gift, like a nice gift to somebody, they'll get jealous.
Yeah.
Things like that. Yeah, but it is another thing to maintain if you're interested in maintaining it.
It's worth noting this in comparison to some of its peers.
Yes.
In that respect too. So to me, this my problem with the relationship stuff in this is that it is, a crop that you water. Compare, like I always do relationship stuff in The Sims, like yours, saying like, oh, your sim always lives alone. My sim always gets married because you end up with like wild stories and stuff.
Yeah.
Like weird emergent shit will happen that's very funny in The Sims for that. I feel like there's a constriction of verbs in this in terms of its like treadmillness, that everything is going to be a thing that you level up or make bigger. There's not really a room for expressive kind of event.
Yeah.
In this game. It's not really, that's not the point of it.
Yeah. Incident ends up being pretty prescribed.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is a game about control.
Yeah. Oh, that's grim. I don't like how that reflects on me.
It is kind of like, I'm telling you, man, it's kind of purgatorially a game. Like it's good. It's better than the sum of its parts, but it is about this hyper capitalistic, like, predictable routine. It is a routine simulator in the same way that like The Sims is narratively a meritocracy simulator. I want to play a game where if my avatar is good at something, good things just happen for them. There's no luck involved.
Yeah.
Here is a thing where it's like, I want to play a game where I can be a one person economy that manages it perfectly. And just increases my sphere of influence and my power with no interruptions.
Yeah. And
like no fail condition, no frostpunk, there's no wrinkles that are being thrown in. Nothing like that.
Yeah. It's only when it's described in the bleakest terms possible that I start getting introspective about it. I think that what this game, I think that this game scratches the itch that it scratches very well, as long as you don't start trying, as long as you don't accidentally end up judging yourself for liking having that itch scratched.
It became a thing where the more I thought about it, like the weirder it seemed. To me. And that's why part of like I was really eager to talk about it is because I enjoyed my time with it, but it's so at odds with things like every other video game does any of this shit. I hate it. Oh, I have to go collect the 6 berries. that are out there, and just to unlock fast travel, fuck you.
What about
uninstall.
screw you? Yeah.
Yeah, like, yeah, how about you?
Yeah.
How about you go to hell?
Yeah, but
you know, and I still didn't do that in this, and I still don't like that in principle.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's like a lack of. I almost think that the lack of the narrative incident and varietal of play actually makes that stuff easier to stomach.
Yeah.
In this game, because it's what's there.
Mm-hmm.
Like what it, you know, you are making your own fun in this. Like you're choosing what your goal is.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are sub goals along the way that the game does give you, but ultimately it's just over when you decide you've had enough of it.
Yeah.
And the I think that those things like the collect the 5 fish to unlock the fast travel thing, in a world where I've already pre-decided my goal is just to make all the meters go up,
mm-hmm.
then that is acceptable because there's no narrative anything interfering with it.
Mm-hmm. It's
there cannot be narrative ludodissonance in this if there's barely a narrative.
Yeah. And if it's all about me deciding how these Tetris pieces of tasks will fit into the fixed landscape of my day, then that is sufficient.
An interesting way to think about it is it's like you have some pentominoes or whatever,
mm-hmm.
and you're trying to make the most efficient square, but you have an unlimited size board.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no internal need for efficiency.
Right.
Like it is unlike something like Frostpunk or The Sims, or Factorio or anything like that. Like this is so purely efficiency for its own sake.
Mm-hmm.
That it's the way that you talk about it makes a lot of sense as that being a gamer value for you,
mm-hmm.
and this being something that speaks to it in an incredibly pure and distilled form.
Yes. Yeah.
You know,
as somebody who just salivates when I hear all of those other things that you cite in relation to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing that is the difference between those things is the reason why I like those things more than I like this thing,
mm-hmm.
is that those kind of fail conditions, I don't want efficiency as its own goal. I want efficiency plus bleak pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Out of all those things we talked about, Frostpunk is my favorite.
Yeah.
Well, The Sims is my favorite,
mm-hmm.
and that's closer in terms of like being a toy.
Yeah.
But Frostpunk, I think is a cooler game than this.
100%
for me.
Yeah.
And the reason why is it adds that context and adds those fail conditions, that pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And I like not just being efficient. I like being efficient in the face of something.
Yeah. Yeah. And in the face of, a progressive pressure, right, that is being put on you beyond, like a temporary setback if you die. Like we talk about The Sims like not having consequences. Like in The Sims, if you run out of money and you don't pay your bills, somebody's going to come and use a special vacuum to empty your house, and your guy will get so sad that he won't be able to go to work the next day. Like,
and then you eventually die.
Yeah.
Like your character will set himself on fire through being too sad to cook goopy carbonara correctly.
Yes.
You know? So there's kind of a fail condition, but I also think that one of the things this is purely, there's no judgment, just me mm-hmm. figuring out what kind of game stuff I like. Right. Mm-hmm. Because as you mentioned, like we're in Coaltown now, we were in Garytown earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Like I also spend a lot of hours on things, is that The Sims also doesn't maintain my interest for 100+ hours.
Yeah.
The Sims is something that I install and play for 10 hours when I need it. The currency also doesn't spend mm-hmm. as long as it could.
Yeah. Whereas I need to be very careful when I install and when I start those, because if I start up a RimWorld colony, like, oh shit, Cole has all of a sudden fallen behind on everything. Right.
Yeah.
There's a
because of that daily routine.
Yeah. There's a compulsion to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is incredibly satisfying. And, any of the games that we have mentioned is, like very rewarding to engage with the systems for their own sake. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It is dangerous. And the amount of time that you'll be compulsed by that is also something that is going to differ.
Yeah. And I'm really happy that my compulsion is for that, just a game where you buy the game and a expansion every couple of months, every couple of years, maybe, as opposed to, something with a loot box or something that is more predatory.
Or cocaine.
Yeah.
Or gambling.
Yes.
Or even like e-gambling,
mm-hmm.
gachapon.
Yeah.
It's better that your compulsion is for this than Genshin Impact.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just interesting. I feel like you can learn a lot about what somebody likes in a video game based on what they take from Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
You know,
just because it contains so much, and it's going to reflect so much of them back at the person, based on what they choose to engage with. Yeah. And how long they stick with it.
Like the variety of task and how much, like, where your lines are for making your own fun, where your lines are for self-directed goals.
Yes.
Things like that.
Yeah. Minecraft is another one of those for me, where it is a bottomless hole from which Cole cannot extract himself.
Yeah. I'll keep these things away from you, man.
Yeah. And by from which I cannot extract myself, I mean, like, burn a week on it and then feel bad and then stay away for probably longer than I should.
Yeah. You lock yourself in a cage like a werewolf.
Yes.
You know, during a full moon.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of this. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say that doesn't necessarily, that specific thing, it does not always just apply to these things. Like, that's the reason why I haven't bought Darkest Dungeon 2 yet.
Oh yeah. Or Baldur's Gate 3.
Because Baldur's Gate 3, like, I'll go deep on them.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll play those. Using the fact that they're in early access an excuse not to go deep on them yet.
Yeah.
But I also just know I'll do that instead of other things.
I mean, it's a little, like, it's something that I'm excited about in Fallout 4, but also a little bit, like, scared, because the base building and management stuff seems real cool to me. You know, I never got far enough to engage with it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be real curious as to how that, because it is, I'm kind of a defender of that stuff as well. I don't hate that shit, even though a lot of people do. And I find the loop of finding new stuff in Fallout 4 really compulsive as well. Yeah. So this is kind of compulsive fall.
Yeah. Which is good, because compulsion is a great way to supplement motivation.
Sure. Let's get into it. Let's move on.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of the late game stuff. This is going to be Cole book report kind of deals, but we can react. We can react to it here, because this is, I mean, like, you unlocked the railroad, right? Like, you got to the end of summer on your first year.
I did, and there was the soaking pool.
Yeah.
That I went there. It takes forever. Like, I took off my speed shoes, so you walk real slow. I didn't know there was anything else to do here, though.
Yeah. It ends up being kind of a vestibule that goes to a bunch of other places. The spa is a very bad, it'll recover your energy for free, but, like, the process of getting in and getting out takes a really long time. This is a good way. So you'll occasionally get alerts saying, hey, a train's about to pass through town. If you go up there and hang out by the train as it passes through, loose ore and items will fall out of the open.
Showering everyone in the eyes and skulls.
Just pelting you with stones at max speed. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. But that ends up being, it stops being something where it's like, hey, drop everything and go there, especially when things like coal and things like low quality ore become incredibly common for you. It'll be useful for, like, the remainder of the first year, but not that far afterwards. So what you will do here is there'll be a pathway that'll open up to the witch's swamp, to the bog. Your wizard quest chain will send you here. The wizard and the witch used to be involved with each other romantically before she went off the deep end.
He regrets it. I was reading his stuff. He apparently did something horrible, but he
drove her to it, I think, is the way that it articulates. She has some things of his that he wants, and the witch is not here. Like, you can't actually, like, interact with her, but you can get in good with her henchmen by giving him void mayonnaise. This little gremlin loves this ashy goop, and he'll let you in. And this is where you can access the shrines that will let you perform the dark arts. Not only can you turn your child into doves, you can eternal sunshine your spouse.
Yeah. It's all just, it's so weird. It's so, man, because you're doing that because like if you want to marry everybody and see all their stuff on like, oh, I'm on year like 16 of my thing where I'm marrying everyone in town. It's just wild to me.
Yeah.
Because when we were talking about the thing, I know that we moved past generalities and we had to keep moving. But one of the things you were talking about the spa, right? Now it's a bad investment. I imagine that's some people play this to role play, right? So like they go to the spa because they're like, why not go to the spa? The same way that they, you stop and fish or you stop and get a massage in other video games, things like that, and then there are people who take those soft art parts of the game and turn them into a collection thing where it's like, I need to be married to everyone. In order to do that, I have to eternally sunshine my spouse 15 times.
Making me into a fucking monster living in this town.
Professor X crimes that you're doing to this on top of all the other weird ass shit you do. Like it's so contrary to the soft image of this. One of the evil, it's like, it's tyranny level evil. That should be an option tyranny,
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
And it's coded. Like it's not coded as a thing that is good to do. You are making dark pacts with a witch's shrine, but also like it's there. It's along the main line of the game, giving you a reset button for any number of commitments that you might have made.
If your grandpa judges you for doing this shit?
I don't think so.
He should.
You really should. It should lower the cap of candles you can get. Like, no, you're never going to perfect this if you eternal sunshine somebody. If you use the shrine of selfishness to dove your kids.
Kids got doved. Then you have to go to the shrine of family court to get them back. And really
but they stay doves, and you got to grow a bunch of corn to feed them, and that's not good. They actually need greens and like mealworms and stuff. Yeah.
Well, farmers' rights. I almost got into the sewer. I was like 3 items short at the museum.
Yeah.
Getting into the sewer, but that was not enough to keep me going.
Yeah.
Here.
But the sewer, until you get to the mutant bug lair, even the mutant bug lair doesn't give you too much to do. Sewer's a bit of a dud. Why are you laughing at the mutant bug lair?
Because even the mutant bug lair doesn't give you too much to do. Like, what a lie. It sounds so cool.
But you get the rusty key if you give 60 items to Gunter, and this will open up the gate down in Cindersap Forest. You can use it as like a weird out of the way shortcut to get between Cindersap and Pelican Town. There you can fish here for particular fish to meet particular requirements. But the primary thing is this is where Krobus lives.
Yeah, Krobus.
I like the Krobus. Just a little ghoul. He's like the dwarf who lives over in the mine. All of them have little relationship meters. Like you can improve it with them. Like you can give gifts to Krobus. He's not used to receiving generosity. But this Krobus is where you can buy dark items, including for 2 million gold. Incredibly useful. You can get the return scepter, which will instantly take you back to your farm.
Yeah. You can also later, when you get the movie theater, you get to take Krobus to the movies. Thus inspiring the Belle and Sebastian song, like Krobus at the movies.
Man.
Tell me about the mutant bug lair and why it's not great.
There's just not much to it. So it's full of the bug enemies, which are pretty tough. They're the ones that will like cocoon up and spawn a bunch of other things. They're invulnerable when they're in the cocoon. I think also the dragonflies will show up here, where if they hit you, it will it'll put you into a status effect where they swarm you. They do a ton of damage. You can do this is like a good place to get some forageables. You can do some fishing here. Really, all that this is, though, this isn't procedurally generated. It's just one big screen. We're going to be going to get a dark talisman for the wizard to finish out his quest line, is to do that. So it's just a place if you want to fight bugs. Here they are. Kind of like if you want to fight slimes, you raise the slimes.
There we go.
Yeah. More involved.
We mentioned the desert a little bit, like getting the bus fixed.
Yes. Yeah. The Calico Desert's a little bit more involved. It's its own map. It's its own fishing pool. You can pick up cactus fruits. You can pick up coconuts and things here. Chop down palm trees. There's also a place where you can, if you have, I think it's like, you need to use prismatic shards to get essences of the universe. You can get really powerful weapons here if you stand in like the little organization of pillars up at the north.
Okay.
Primarily what you're going to do when you first arrive here, especially if you've not gotten to the bottom of the mines, is there's a special shop called the Oasis where you can get rare seeds and items, including starfruit seeds, which is a real good cash crop. It yields multiple, I believe it yields multiple fruits. I forget. Don't quote me on that because I may be confusing it with ancient fruits.
Yes.
But there's also a casino here where if you go through a cryptic set of actions, you can get into Mr. Cheese casino to go up here and play slot machines and blackjack to get a special currency to buy particular items.
Yeah, I would have done this. I like blackjack.
Yeah. Love a blackjack video game. But the main thing, though, is you want to come over here and use the key that you found at the bottom of the mines to get into Skull Cave. This behaves differently. You always start at the top of it, and there's no elevator. You just have to descend on your own. And things here will fuck you up. Very, more mix-ups, more aggressive enemies. They do a lot of damage to you. You have to be very careful. And also, you're going to get a lot of iridium here. This is primarily where you're going to be getting that very rare metal that will take you to the upper levels of sprinklers and your most efficient tools.
Yeah, the rarest metal. We didn't mention this when we talked about the mines. The mines have an elevator, so you clear them in basically sets of 5.
Yeah,
you can fast travel to every 5 floors. Doing a little mine run, you want to make at least 5 floors of progress so you can fast travel back and get back to where you were.
Yeah. But this, for a long time, this was like the late game content here was going as deep as you could in Skull Cave. I don't believe that it has a bottom. I think that you just go until you run out of time or energy or health. And the deeper you go, the more rewarding it gets.
Nice. And I also read about this, but did not do it. When you complete the community center, Willie, the fisherman, says he has enough room or enough time in his life finally to fix up the fishing boat.
He'll take you back. He'll show it to you in confidence.
Yep. You're the tasty treat. And if you give him money and items, he'll get it into shape, and you can go to Ginger Island.
Yeah.
Which is a brand new map, has new features like new collectibles, new places to start a second farm, things like that.
Yeah. We don't have to go too deep into this because some of it, like you can start a resort here. You can open up the resort where people from Pelican Town will come. I think maybe if you interact with them here, you get better friendship bonuses on it, but it's random who comes and when, and it will pull them from other things. So if you are trying to keep people predictable, it ends up being a little bit of a net negative for you. The earliest part of being here on Ginger Island is you need to find these golden walnuts, and you do this by doing like a scavenger hunt around in this environment, looking for like, oh, there's an X in the environment, so it probably means I need to dig here, and you pull these up, and you'll get hints about where these might be. And you exchange the golden walnuts. You give them to the parrots here, and they set stuff up. So this is how you open the farm. This is how you open the fast travel around here. And ultimately, you want to get into the volcano, which is a high level dungeon, which is a really good place to get high level ores, but also more golden walnuts to get to the top and unlock kind of like item crafting, like combining your tools with particular gems to get different effects. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't use any energy, things like that.
Yeah. And all of this is in service to getting 100 golden walnuts, so you can get into the special golden walnut room, where you get high level quests that you need to accept, some of which will turn the dungeons into more dangerous versions of themselves. So you need to get to a certain level to get a new ore, radioactive ore, to make better versions of items. But also you are accumulating gems that can be traded for even more game breaking stuff. And ultimately there's a perfection tracker, which is saying like, all right, here's what you have left to do in order to achieve perfection and get a special event at the top of the peak in the mountains by the railroad. Yeah,
if you want to 100%.
Yes.
The game. And that is not Stardew Valley, because there's a lot of stuff to it, but that's our episode on Stardew Valley.
That's
Stardew
all
Valley.
of the individual like elements of Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley happens when you try and fit those into a day over the course of several years.
Yes. Many years.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the longest game we've done?
Maybe.
Like, it's over when you want it to be. So no, but also in terms of like getting to this stuff.
Yeah.
Like unlocking this island, unlocking all of this extra stuff, like definitely not even doing perfection.
Yeah.
But like getting to engage with the last system they reveal.
Yeah.
Has got to be pretty close to the longest thing we've done.
So, I mean, this is not the 1.5 playthrough that I did, like when that patch was released on the Switch earlier this year in the summer. I understand that I kind of knew how to run a farm and get through those early things. So this is probably short. Like a person's first playthrough would take longer. It took me about 100 hours to get to the point where I had a pretty good farm set up on Ginger Island. And that, I think that save is at about like just shy of 200 at this point, something like that, as I've been doing extra stuff with it off and on. I've since put it down. I picked it up a little bit to refresh myself about systems, but yeah, like it is up there at the very least with the longest stuff we've ever played.
Yeah. It's at least, you know, especially considering like the progress I was making without knowing the stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Like that first year would have been a wash basically. And I looked up some stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a really big investment, and that's a double-edged sword, right? Like it's great because it's generous.
Yes.
If you're looking like this, Stardew Valley is $4.99 on iOS.
Wild.
It's hard for me to think of a better dollar per hour ratio if that is something that you are invested in.
If you're buying by volume.
Yes. For me, I bought this twice. I bought it on PC and on Switch. And played like 4 hours on PC and then 23 to 25 hours on Switch. Had fun and do not regret it at all. I had fun. You know, it is a tremendous value. I would say that if any of that stuff is interesting to you, even if you don't have the perpetual gamer gene, like even if you don't want to make things more efficient ad infinitum, you can play this until you're done with it and still have fun.
Yeah.
Like, I like to dip into this kind of thing, you know, from time to time.
Yeah. You know, and, you know, we've talked about like The Sims as a bit of a depression game. This is, you know, a little bit similar. Like for me, it's an anxiety game because, you know, like, yeah, it is about control to a certain degree. It is nice to get in here and have perfect control over your day and to bring order to the chaos and to, you know, everything that you do and everything that you're subjected to is a result of a choice that you have made. That's not something that you get in real life. And this is, you know, this is designed, yes, as a treadmill, but also it is, you know, if the routine is rewarding to you, it is an intrinsically rewarding one. The action itself.
It's a good treadmill.
Yeah. The action itself, it is like, you know, tending to a Zen garden or a bonsai tree or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to, you know, I feel like we got everything I wanted to say out of it. You know, I think that the thing that I learned about myself through this journey is that I do, you know, nobody is, you know, has purely any taste. Like, you know, a well-rounded gaming diet is important. And we talk about gamer psychographics on this show, like things that are, you know, more or less important to you that kind of dictate what type of games you gravitate towards. This is a really good expression of the part of me that is a small part of me, but nonetheless is extant, that digs this kind of thing. And when you take this kind of thing and mix it with other stuff, then you're cooking with fire. You know, for then that really works for me. This is the straight stuff. This is like pure efficiency for efficiency's sake, distilled into like black tar macanudo. You know, it is purely highly refined to be what it is.
Yeah. And, you know, I think it's impressive that it is so many things to so many different people as well. People have found, you know, fulfillment out of lots of different kind of angles on this, which is neat on its own.
Yeah. Yeah. It's neat. It's a good game. thank you. Thanks for sponsoring it.
Yeah, thank you, Zack.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. Appreciate you. I was going to call you My Marvelous Year, but that's not your name.
No, that's how you show up in Patreon.
Yeah, that's not a name. If you have anything to say about Stardew Valley, hit us up at Duckfeed.tv /contact. I'll save everybody some time. I don't want to read any of you guys fucked up or you played the game wrong for a game that you can't play wrong. So write those if you feel the need to, but it's just for you.
You would just be doing violence to me, who reads them and compiles them, and would like leave it out if it was especially mean. So
yeah, we're not gonna to read those out loud. But if you have things that contribute,
yeah. Like I said at the beginning, if there is a glaring omission or a cool story, or something that you found especially cool, share it in the spirit of sharing. Which is, especially to convey enthusiasm in a way that is contagious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you have anything to say about that, if you have anything to say about StarCraft 2 or Left 4 Dead 2 as well, you can do that. Or if you have anything to say about Fallout 4 or any of the expansions, that's December 15th at Duckfeed.tv /contact.
Yeah. It's all good. Go there and do that. You can go to patreon.com /DuckFeedTV, get extra episodes of the show, get the full version of the premium episodes. This month, StarCraft is the premium episode. So that's coming out, the preview for everybody next week. And then the patrons are going to get the full version, hearing about the individual missions and things like that. You also get access to bonus shows, and you help out your boys. It takes a lot of time to do the show the way that we do it. And we really appreciate that your support allows us to make the show we want.
Indeed. Yeah. And we'll be announcing relatively soon what we're doing in next year. So next year's already started to form, and it's good stuff. Yeah. Save the date, December 17th, that weekend, for Duckstream 2021. Details to come. Yep. But that is the date. So save that weekend. I expect to see you glued to your computer.
Yeah. And if you don't, we're going to be real upset with you.
Our ghost will come back and never going to go down to the tide pools for scavenge again for ground treats.
Oh, man.
Until next time, what should they watch out for, Cole?
They should watch out for that crop